accommodations about other countries in the region. The problem is everybody is a threat to the Middle East. Everybody is a threat to the United States. And the fact is that yes, Assad killed all those people. Yes, Saddam Hussein killed all those people. They were killing Muslims. Who cares? And here's another point. Everybody, the Middle East is full of assholes. You don't survive in the Middle East without a fucked up dictator. That's life. That's the way it is. So for Israel to be constantly saying, oh my gosh, they're 3 weeks away from having nuclear capabilities, since 1990. Oh my gosh, we have to get rid of this guy. He's a terrorist. He's Hezbollah. This morning, I just, saw videos of entire regions of Gaza completely flattened. And was everybody in a 1 mile radius or whatever, were they all terrorists? Were they really? Everybody's a terrorist according to Israel if they want them to be. That's the problem. That's the problem with Israel. And we're tired of it.
Let me respond to Alan very briefly. Alan, you'll be happy to know I just pasted the link in the chat that Israel is in talks with Armenia right now for Armenia to join the Abraham Accords and to settle the beef with Azerbaijan. And if Israel messes with any Armenians, I'll go over there with you and protest against whatever Israel's doing to disadvantage Armenians. Because I feel close to the Armenian community, and nobody who's also gone through a genocide as we have should be subject to any further persecution. I'm on your side.
Okay, your briefly is done, Norm. Alan, do you have something to retort? Because if not, I'm going to allow Sam to do so.
Well, Norm, I've always appreciated your support of Armenia. I'll just say the gesture from Israel is welcome. Let's see what happens, but it might be a case of a little late, a little too little, not enough and not soon enough. Thank you. I forget the expression, but the fact
is too little, too late. I know.
Wait. I want to follow up with Alan's thoughts.
Hold on,
Yeah,
Sam. Alan, are you done or a little too late?
Well, the point is that unless it involves giving Artsakh back to the Armenian people, 130,000 of which were forcibly removed from an area that Armenians have been in for like 1,300 years. I'm not so sure it'll help.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Quickly, and then I'm going to go to Dr.
I'll be real quick. Thank you, Alan, for those wonderful points. We were discussing some of those points earlier before you walked in about the issue of these countries. First, then it was Iraq, and then Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt. It seems like there are like a lot of countries in the Middle East are now talking about, hey, what's going on here? Who's next? When is this country rotations going to stop?
Is there an order?
Are you done, Sam? I just want to make sure.
Yes, we're trying. There's a lot of countries, this just talked about 2 weeks ago, they're like, well, wait a second here. Who's next now? And when is this how it's going to be forever?
I come to you.
That's a fair point. Doctor?
Yes. So, I'm just going to be very honest. I feel like these pro-Palestinian people did a lot of people in Gaza a disservice, because the more y'all come into these spaces and continue to whine and complain, make up a bunch of bullshit, rewrite history, recruit allies that, quite frankly, you enslaved and sold over to the Americas as, chattel slavery. It's very funny to me that, we need to cry for Gaza. I'm going to be very honest. I don't give a fuck, okay? I don't give a fuck. And to be very, very frank with you, you did not see any Jews flying planes into the Pentagon or Lower Manhattan. So if I went to, take any side, I'm definitely going to take sides with the Jews, okay, for many different reasons as a Christian, okay? Aside from that, everywhere y'all set up an Islamic Republic, okay, whether it be France, whether it be you invading the UK, it turns into a shithole. It turns into an absolute shithole, okay? An absolute shithole. And again, sexuality or not, okay, you pull up to me with some of the grievances and complaints that you have, I blow your fucking head off, okay? So at the end of the day, you should watch your fucking mouth. Y'all fucking Arabs have gotten too damn comfortable coming up into America. Yeah, and I'm telling you, and I'm telling you to go jump off a fucking bridge, okay? And scream Allah Akbar on your way down, you piece of shit. So at the end of the day, in fact, why don't you put on a hijab and hang yourself with it?
Doctor, all right, we're moving on. We don't want that personal attack, please. That's not. I hear your fury, and I got it. I think I saw. Are you done, Doctor?
So I'm gonna land, and I'm gonna say this. Everywhere they fucking go, there's an issue. Okay? Let's look at the UK. Let's look at other places around the globe. Everywhere y'all go, there is a fucking problem. We are tired of you. We are absolutely fucking tired of you. And you want to taunt this narrative, there's 2 billion Muslims. Guess what? There's 2.5 billion Christians. And there's 700 million fucking Hindu people that are tired of you too. Stop it.
Okay, thanks, Doctor. I saw you come off mic. If not, I'm going to go to someone else.
So what? Does he want all-out war? What are you calling for?
Excuse me, Il? Okay, Il's not there, so what?
I want you to have a bacon hamburger and shut the fuck up. That's what we want.
Adam, we heard you.
Take care.
Well, I think Vitality wanted to first, and then Oliver. So go ahead. Oliver.
I mean, it's funny. I actually agree with what Adam said. The problem is it doesn't always just apply to Muslims. You want to say Muslims have a problem everywhere they go, that's fine. There's another group of people that have had a problem in, 109 different countries, 1,000 different times, 4,000 years. I mean, all the things you complain about Muslims, too many Muslims are entering the West, too many Muslims are coming into the U.S. So which groups are lobbying for Muslims to increase immigration into the U.S. and Europe? That's there's a lot of Jewish groups. Shut up, no.
Like what?
Israel. And shut up.
Like what?
Don't cry. Shut up.
Shut up. Not crying. I'm asking for evidence.
I know, normal. Just wait. You gotta let people finish.
Yeah. Groups like B'nai B'rith constantly lobby that, Muslims need to come to the West. Israel, literally,
Not
their
true.
whole solution.
That's false.
Yeah, yes, no, that absolutely is true. We've discussed this many times on Clubhouse. We have discussed this many times on Clubhouse.
Why wouldn't you
Okay.
want Muslims to...
There you go.
Please, I don't need to
Yes, he
Yeah.
it's not being productive, so go ahead and finish,
Thank you.
Oliver, and then I'll bring it back up when you're
Israel, literally, their whole solution to the Gaza crisis is to inlet ports or, evacuate Palestinian Muslim refugees from Gaza into places like Ireland and Spain. So the Israel you support actually supports all the things you supposedly hate. They want more Muslims to come into your country. They want Sweden to be turned into Swedistan and all the things you supposedly care about, yet you cut for this community. Another thing that's funny, you talked about, I don't see any Muslims fly into, any Jews fly the planes into 9/11, but we did see Jews dancing, celebrating, cheering, and recording when the Twin Towers were collapsed. Interestingly, many of those Jews turned out to be Mossad agents. Interestingly, after getting extradited back to Israel, one of them even commented that yes, he did in fact have prior knowledge of it, because he and his people were there to document and record. In addition to the other, 60 Israeli art students, mysterious building repairs that were done in the weeks before 9/11, lucky Larry Frank, I wonder what his ethnicity happens to be, but of course, You know, I mean, you don't have to make any conclusions for this. You can find this all on Wikipedia and ABC News, right? But, you know, but if you don't want to take my word for it, well, you know, I'm a Catholic like you. But I just want to read
I
one
want to
last
say
word
something
from,
after him.
I just want to read one last word from the Bible about, this is what our Lord God says about the Jewish people. For you, brothers and sisters, became imitators of the churches of God in Christ Jesus that are in Judea. For you suffered the same thing from your own compatriots as they did from the Jews, who killed both the Lord Jesus Christ and murdered the prophets, and drove us out. They are hated by God, and are enemies of all humankind, by hindering us from speaking to the Gentiles so that they may be saved. Thus they have constantly been filling up the measures of their sins, but God's wrath has overtaken them at last. This is what your God tells you about the Jewish people, and yet you're here sitting here saying, oh no, the Jews are our allies. The Jews are our friends.
May I respond? May I respond?
Yes, well, in just a second, Oliver, can you please put in the chat your sources that for all your claims? Because you claimed a lot,
Okay.
right? Thank you. Doctor.
Yeah, so Oliver, what country do you currently live in?
The United States.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say this, your whole entire household, right, should have their door kicked in by the feds. You should be armed at gunpoint.
Dude,
And put
why
onto
are
a
we doing
plane
the first
and put back into whatever fucking country that you came from, okay? You are not American. You are dirty, dirty, dirty trash.
Djibouti is his name, by the way.
Okay, Adam, that was, we don't want to do that. That's not productive, but I hear your rage. I'm trying to find Norm so I can bring him back up. Was there anyone else on stage that hasn't been able to talk that would like to now?
I just came back in to
I
say
like to-
something.
I
Has
like
there,
to-
has there been any discussion about, in the room, and I left for a bit, about freeing the hostages? Or doing-
I didn't expect Christians getting killed. No, we have to talk about the
Have we talked about the hostages were Jewish, Christian, Thai, they were Baha'i, they were Buddhists that were taken? Have we talked about the 50 hostages that are still there? And
That's
getting
not the
at least-
topic of the room, so.
Where are
I
you?
know. Has anyone had any outrage about that?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
is that
we're
like-
talking about Christians
No
getting
outrage
killed. Now it's about
whatsoever.
the
Think that it's okay that civilians in Gaza hold hostages in their homes?
Is it okay that civilians in
Yeah,
Baghdad
and if you'd like to hear it, if you'd like to hear it specifically, we can ping Shalomi in the room and he can tell you what life was like as a hostage in the private home of a doctor and a journalist. You can hear it directly from a hospital.
Please be quiet. Be quiet.
So,
Abby, finish, please.
yeah, just
Go
as
on
we-
mute, Aziz.
As we
Can
talk
I go
about,
next?
as we talk about the outrage here, how about the outrage about these hostages and freeing them? Anyone have any concern about that?
How about let's talk about the Hannibal directly?
I just asked that question. I asked a direct question.
Can I go now?
Anyone give me a direct answer about
No,
hostages?
cannot. Be quiet.
I'll let somebody answer it. I'll let somebody answer it, but I just want to say, like, I don't want. I was purposely trying to avoid the God debate mainly because everybody talks about it, and I don't, just didn't really care to do it again. But whoever wants to answer, go ahead.
I mean, the hostages still being alive, it's like unexpected, to be honest. I would expect that they would have been executed already after all those dead Gazans. But
They believe that there's
Perfect. Can I ask a somewhat relevant but slightly off-topic question?
Hi, Timothy. Yeah, you.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Oh, buddy, oh, pal. I just wanted to ask, are there any Christians in the room that want to respond to what Oliver said about the 2 Thessalonians, whatever chapter? I forget the exact chapter and verse, but the verse.
I know
about-
you're.
Thessalonians 2:14.
I know you're in the. I know you, Timothy, are in religious rooms a lot. I'm not. You would. I don't really know how to even respond to it.
I mean, I'm an atheist, right? I don't believe any of that. But I think there are a lot of
Right,
Christians.
so we don't want to hear shit to say what you gotta say about the Bible. You're a fucking atheist.
Adams.
No, but I think there are a lot of Christians who are proud Zionists. And I think gentleman raises a good point, namely Mr. Cromwell. Because he's saying, look, if you have the doctrinal commitment to, like, what's, the contempt,
the contemporary wisdom would refer to as anti-Semitism. That's what you'd be committed to if you're a Christian and you accept, the inerrant word of God. So I'm just interested to know what Christians say in response to that.
Sam?
KK, can I go next too? Because I haven't
No,
talked.
not yet. I understand. I appreciate your patience, resistance, but I believe Sam unmiked so he can answer his question.
Oh, no, I
Sam?
apologize. That was a mismic.
Okay. Anyone else that would like to respond to him?
Yes, very quickly. I'm sorry he identifies as an atheist. I'm not listening to anything this shitpig has to say about the Bible.
Dude, we're not insulting people
Okay,
for the last time.
we're not doing that.
I'll just be letting
Anyone
this
like to
asshole on the
respond to
stage
him?
always.
He didn't solve. You should just actually
Excuse
respond.
me. All right. He was trying and he's challenged today. All right. Anyone want to respond to Timothy?
I mean, if Oliver has, maybe Oliver's probably the only person on the stage that
Can
can
I
answer
speak?
that as a question.
I mean, the only
Can I go?
Zionist I see is Adams.
Yeah, can I go? Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, it seems like no one's speaking. I'm gonna.
Sure. Sorry, the app is glitching. I'm
Yeah.
just going to stay unmiked to help you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Thank you. Yeah, it just seems like there's like selective outrage. I mean, we're gonna talk about the hostages, and that's fine. But I've had so many things on the stage. Doctor was talking about Muslim extremism and how it's spreading to the West, but we're sort of it's selective outrage. We're not talking about half of Congress trying to fulfill some messianic belief. Ted Cruz confirmed it. Many people have confirmed it. There seems to be selective outrage. We can talk about hostages. That's fine. But there doesn't seem to be any attempt to address a wider context here. How we got here. I'm not justifying October 7th, but the reality was that was a terrible year for the Palestinians leading up to that point. That didn't happen. That wasn't an event in isolation. I heard people talking about. I heard Doctor talk about 9/11. I mean, what was the response to 9/11? It was numerous wars, completely unrelated to the events that took place on 9/11. All of the veterans that fought those wars that have been abandoned today, those veterans completely reject the notion of going to fight in those wars. They completely understand it now. And then this is a long history of America supporting wars, going all the way back. It's typically about demonizing a population. After the Vietnam War, they changed the name of the war budget to the defense budget. They knew they could no longer demonize the population. They had to victimize themselves. And this is a long legacy of the military-industrial complex. So everyone's sort of ignoring the elephant in the room and just falling for the Fox News narrative. And it seems a little disingenuous. It seems as if we can't step away from the obvious path, and we have to just sort of touch on the CNN talking points and nothing but that. I'm happy to talk about the hostages. It's terrible and it's something that needs to be condemned. But the people that keep bringing up the hostages don't seem to have any compassion for the people. Because I have criticisms of Hamas, but they don't seem to have any compassion for the people that are governed by Hamas. It seems as if they've it's joint enterprise, and some people call that collective punishment. But I just seem to see no nuance in these arguments. So that's just what I wanted to say.
You're right. We don't give a fuck. Return the hostages.
Like,
Hold on, and I want to. Can I speak now?
Yeah, I'll give you just a second. Aziz, you made a lot of points. Some of them I don't agree with. One in particular, you were talking about the U.S. military veterans that you feel are not in support of their actions. So I would like to see where you have that information so I can read into that, because it is the complete opposite within my military network and community. Resistance, go ahead. Thank you for being patient.
No, I just wanted to point out, like my beautiful brother Aziz said, is this selective outrage. And once again, you can easily point it out, because once again, the same person that was speaking about all these great things but doesn't want to speak about the negative, bad things, did it again. She says, let's speak about the hostages. What hostages, though, are we talking about? Are you going to include the 10,000 hostages that Israeli has taken? Are you going to include the other 5,000 they took since October 7th without a charge that are in detentions? Are you talking about those innocent Palestinian children that are sitting in detention right now? Over 400 of them? No, she's not talking about them. She's just talking about those white Israeli hostages. Mind you,
She never
God
said
bless them.
white. She never said white.
I'm calling them white. It doesn't matter what she said. I'm calling them white. But anyway,
Don't miss.
hold up. When Adams is obnoxious, you don't say shit to him, so let me talk.
I'm just.
Yeah, he was a
Finally, don't misrepresent and turn this into a race thing.
So anyways, like I was saying,
No, hold on a second. No, I'm sick of this fucking shit. Okay, you keep on playing the white thing. Half of the Jews, or more than half of the Jews, just the Jewish population there, don't even have ancestry from Europe. They literally,
they're Europeans. I keep that serious. I don't
and then 20%, the other 20% are Arabs. Like it's a majority non.
Do you think I'm excluding them? Do you think I'm excluding those 20% of Arabs? See, that's the problem with people like you.
Over 50% of the Jewish population is not even white. So like
they're white. Their ideology is white. Their fucking criminal enterprise is white.
The Middle Eastern religion, you dipshit.
So once again, like I'll finish. She's not talking about those innocent people. She's just worried about her innocent people. Mind you, yes, we condemn Hamas from taking innocent women and children. They should have never done it. It's wrong. Because in Islam, we don't stand for that. It's forbidden in our faith. So, once again, I don't care what they decided to do. That's their business. But why are you at raw? Why aren't you at your government for doing the same thing? Why are they kidnapping people? Why are they destroying people's homes? Why are they putting innocent people in concentration camp and detention centers? Abby, why are you not worried about
this
them?
This is fucking stupid argument, dude. Like,
no, it's a logical argument. Why? You're worried about a specific.
No.
Not all of
it's illogical. This is low IQ. This is so low IQ. Holy shit.
She's worried.
Holy shit.
Sorry.
Okay.
Not all the hostages.
No, it's stupid. It's stupid.
You're not saying free all the hostages. You say free
all right. Amazing. There's a big difference between you getting caught by the police or the IDF or something like that, because a lot of these people are fucking terrorists. I'm not going to sit here and ignore that. And so they end up getting detained. But to compare it to just like random fucking Israelis that ended up getting dragged across the border and their kids when they were doing nothing, literally doing nothing. That's one's like basically kidnapping. The other one is you're getting detained. You can bitch and say it's not fair, yada yada yada, but to even try to say that they're comparable is just fucking stupid. I don't want to waste my time on that argument.
And then, Resistance, perhaps you weren't listening to really hear what she had to say, and it's selective, but Abby did talk about the Christians coming over and supporting them, so she wasn't talking about just her own faith. So maybe you missed that part. All right, was there someone else on stage that would like to speak that hasn't spoken yet?
Yeah, I don't want to make it about race at all.
Okay.
But I did want to, but thank you, Pepe, because it's more than 60% of the Jewish population come from originally areas and Arab nations, Iraq, Morocco, from North African countries, and from Middle Eastern countries. There is also in the IDF Muslim soldiers, Druze soldiers, and also the Ethiopians that have immigrated to Israel make up a portion of the army. If you saw Netanyahu's speech in Congress, he had with him several members of the IDF trying to illustrate that the IDF is diverse. So to say that they're all white is disingenuous. It's also a lie. It's not what makes up the composition of the country. The country is mostly people that came from Middle Eastern nations, as well as North African.
Yeah, that's why I kind of had to interrupt that. Spike Threes, you've been up here a while, haven't shared. Would you like to speak on the subject?
Yeah, I wanted to speak on the subject, but once again, somebody brought up the selective outrage. I mean, Adams got highly disrespectful. You guys didn't seem to have much to say to him about that, but as soon as somebody else...
Good, then don't.
Well, actually, sir, I did. I muted him, and I muted him. Well, I asked you to speak on the subject.
Okay.
And you didn't, and you put in like my mod skills. So now I'm gonna have to correct you and say, one, I apologize that you feel that way. It's hard when I have a bunch of rabid assholes up here. And two, I did mute Mr. Doctor.
You sure did. You sure did.
I sure did. So there you go.
If he would get that cloth off his head,
All right,
maybe he would hear
Doctor.
clearer.
Doctor.
Hi, Doctor. All right, go ahead, Spike 3. Let's talk about the subject.
So, it's crazy to bring up the hostages. I mean, we've seen the testimonies from the released hostages, especially the first group. They had nothing bad to say about us. I'm not pro-Hamas. I'm pro-resistance. I don't know much about Hamas. I've never even seen a Hamas to even be talking about a Hamas. But, I mean, all the proof is in the pudding. Like, the Israeli hostages that were released spoke nothing but good, said they were fed, kept safe, had to get moved around because of the bombing. I mean, you also had the 3 hostages that ran out to the IDF holding their Israeli ID cards and still happened to get shot by IDF. I believe all the hostages should be released, but once again, they're like it's so evident. The selective outrage is so evident. Like, I don't understand the whole debate about any of this. It's all wrong. But I don't see how we can hyperfixate on those hostages when it's been over 100K innocent Palestinians slaughtered. They were told to go to safe zones just to be bombed in those same exact safe zones. Like, what? Are we ignoring how this whole war has been going since the beginning? Israel has done nothing but lied and manipulated the civilian population just to obliterate that same civilian population, just to also starve the same civilian population, just to also leave babies in incubators to die slow, painful deaths of starvation. I just don't understand. I don't understand like how anybody could be selective and be leaning towards supporting Israel at this point. I mean,
Can you prove any of that stuff that you just said? I mean,
the videos are out there. I don't have to. I mean, we all have devices.
Your video person.
We all have devices. A simple Google search, simple searches, you will find all the proof. I mean,
But how do you know that those videos are real, and how do you know that things that you see online are real?
I mean, you know what a real video looks like when somebody has half their head blown off. Like, what are you talking about? Yes, really. You can't, as an adult. As an adult, can you not as an adult tell the difference between what's real and what's not at this point? Like, have you been wasting all your years on this planet?
Like the BBC, because I just put an account of some hostages from the BBC. I'll just load you up with a whole bunch of different media outlets so you can see the accounts from the hostages,
Are those
the rapes, the
hostages
tortures.
dead?
Yeah.
Spike
Are they dead?
Alive.
Spike 3.
Okay, so Hamas didn't kill them.
Oh my God.
Okay, Spike 3, to Pepe's point, he's saying, how do you know those are true, not true? For case example, a major publication that actually showed up in, I think, the Seattle Times, one picture, but another picture that they were saying of the children starving in Gaza was actually a picture from an Afghani child years ago. So it's like, that's the question for that. Well, that's the question that he raised. Now, I find it interesting that, I love your passion to understand, but you even said at the beginning that you don't know much about it, but you have your thoughts and opinions. But I want to ask you, if you don't know much about Hamas and what is going on, then what is on your head, and why do you feel so enchanted to, really project that leaning into one side or the other if you feel like you don't know a lot?
Okay, so have you guys seen the video that was put out by the creator of Hamas? It has nothing to do with Jewish hate. He even said himself, don't cut me off. I did not cut anybody off. He even said himself, this is solely for resistance. And that it doesn't matter if his own goddamn cousin tried to take his house. He would even put that man to death for trying to do the same shit, as should any man protect his own castle. So here you have a bunch of refugees, and I'm not saying all of them, but Israel was built off granting asylum to refugees from World War II. I don't see it makes absolutely no logical sense that Palestine should have to donate all of this land when Germany was initially the victimizers of these Jews. Why not Germany make a settlement there, since Germany is so pro-Israel, as we've seen, right? Why not donate their own land?
Because Zionists were already had been building in Israel, and the Zionist movement was already but
come on though, cannot the perpetrators against the Jews pay up what they owe to those same Jews that they victimized?
They do.
So let's just ignore what part Germany played. Let's just ignore the part Germany played in displacing these people, and let's go ahead and hold these Palestinians accountable for World War II. Let's hold these people accountable for what the Nazi regime.
I understand. Yes, I do think that any group of people of any religion, any ethnicity, that there would, even if they weren't Jews and just other Muslims, there probably would be a resistance, and people would not like them moving down there. I think that's human nature. So I get what you're saying, but I don't think people were trying to punish the Palestinians, obviously.
Well, it might have not started that way, but you look at Gaza right now, and it definitely ended up that way.
There seems to be like selective outrage and also a bit of selective logic. I mean, Pepe asked, how do you know what you're seeing is true, Spike, right? Well, I could ask you the same thing, right? I don't ask you the same thing, but I could, right? But I'm not being, I'm taking your word for it. Anything you tell me about Israel, I take your word for it. But there seems to be an unwillingness to accept what we're seeing in Gaza to be true. And what is that? There's the undertones of that. It's either too hard to handle, or you don't want it to be true. But I just don't understand. And then also you sort of, he made a great point about German accountability. I mean, I keep hearing people like Doctor talk about European migration of the Muslims, right? Well, that same sort of outrage that you're experiencing in Europe, nobody's questioning that, but suddenly, the inception of an ethno-state, that's what I refer to as in the Middle East, which is a shared holy land for a very long time, that's supposed to not be problematic, That's what we call selective outrage and selective logic. And that's my point of contention. That's what I don't understand.
That's a fair point. I do think a lot of the pro-Israeli or Zionist narratives and stuff are definitely, a lot of it's propaganda. Just like if Britain was to say whatever they would put out there, or the U.S. even, when we were in war, I think put out quite a bit of propaganda, put a spin on things. I take it as that. When it comes, the reason I was pushing back on him is because, I'll listen to people who really are study what's happening there in Gaza, and like, for example, when it comes to the number of people, even they don't have an actual number. They don't really know. Are people actually, how much starvation actually happening?
I think
a lot of the shit people don't know.
I think it's a
flower massacre, though. Look at the flower massacre.
Hold on. Let El Normo finish.
Yeah, I'm getting so many videos of the Palestinians stealing the aid, and so many videos of the well-fed Hamas terrorists. It's just staggering, and so many pieces of evidence. This whole starvation and famine thing is one big lie, and that Hamas is like, they're using pictures of Yemeni children, and they're taking kids who were injured, because they've got some spinal thing or something, and trying to pass them off as victims of Israel.
And it's usually like and I've noticed like a couple of those pictures, you had an overweight mom, holding her bony child, and I'm thinking to myself,
good point.
That's not natural. So yeah, there's a lot of things, and of course I've seen a lot of AI generated photos. And
totally, it's like Soviet propaganda. The Soviet Union is like,
the capitalists are fascist and they're oppressive and they're racist. The same level of lies. In fact, they learned at the feet of the Soviets. Remember, there was no such thing as a Palestinian movement until a person whose name was not Yasser Arafat. That's a fake name. He was Abdul Rahman, something that was born in Cairo, goes to Moscow and comes back and creates a terror movement modeled after the Bolsheviks. There was no Palestinian movement before
he
that.
was born
It's
in
typical.
He was born in Egypt.
It was born in Cairo.
Okay, but where was his
From
parents?
Cairo.
Where were his parents born?
I don't know where his parents
They
were
were
from.
born
He
in
was Egyptian.
Palestine. They were born in Palestine.
Dude,
That's the point.
that makes him an Egyptian. He's not from Palestine.
All right, go ahead, Oliver.
I would just
So
like
what
to
does that
point
make
out
you,
the,
Norman?
I would
That
just
makes
like
me
to
a
point out
Jew.
the,
All right, let's let
Exactly.
Oliver. Okay, let's let Oliver go.
I would just like to point out the irony of a Jewish person talking about the Bolsheviks when captains of the U.S. Army during this time period concluded, what was it, 300 of 384 commissars happened to belong to one ethnicity in the Soviet Union. Of the Central Committee of the Politburo, 40 to 50% of them
What year is this?
happened to come in 1919.
1919?
Yes, 1919 report to the U.S. Congress, Captain
How
Montgomery Schroeder.
how would you know this?
Because I
Testing
read-
their
I read-
religion?
I read.
How would you know this?
I read.
Yeah, actually, I'd be curious if you can.
Yeah,
so
show us the
309
evidence.
I've seen that there was I remember with the Bolsheviks there was in the very beginning there was an overrepresentation of Jews, but I don't even think it was majority Jewish, but it was
No,
exceptional.
they-
Soviet Union
Yeah.
was massively anti-Semitic. There was a
But no, if you have a link, and I mean if you have the source, I
Yes,
You're like a fountain of conspiracy theory.
Captain.
Let him
All
finish.
roads lead to the Jews with
Norm,
you,
let him
Jabuti.
finish. Oliver, provide the link in the chat, please.
Yes, I'll provide the link. in
I
the chat.
see, thank you so much. I think Ruben Sheik is new to the stage and came
Can I
up.
finish what I was saying?
Oh, I thought you were finished, my bad.
More Jewish conspiracy theories, please.
All right, Norm.
Norm,
Anyway, these reports are from two reports of Captain Montgomery Schuyler, or Schuyler, I don't know how it's pronounced. He was a captain in the U.S. Navy or Army. He sent this directly to Congress. He details one of them, the exact ethnic percentages of the Soviet commissars. Most people, though, do defer to sources like Solzhenitsyn, Yuri Shapoval, etc., who say that, no, the number isn't 80%, it's only a meager 50%. Right? But either which way, it doesn't matter. U.S. historians, British historians like Leonard Shapiro, also Jewish, the Russian historians, they all conclude that, yeah, at a minimum, about 50% of the people making important decisions in the Soviet Union and the Soviet Politburo were Jewish.
Out of the initial group, and so what was kind of weird is that you saw this with Jewish immigrants from Europe, are you okay?
Good.
So you had the German, the Jews that came here from Germany, this is what they said, they were very hard to tell apart from the Germans, the Christian Germans. But when it came to the Russian, the ones that came from Tsarist Russia, they often didn't even call themselves Russian, and they were not assimilated to those that came from Tsarist Russia that were Christian. And I know that they had a lot of a shit ton of restrictions that were set upon them in Tsarist Russia. So out of all of the what could Jews really get behind politically? They would why wouldn't they kind of be a part of a communist party that would treat them similar or treat them better?
Well,
The Soviet Union is one of the most anti-Semitic institutions in human history. Just bizarre what you're saying. And we're talking, by the way, about the lies of the Palestinians. We're not talking about 1919 Tsarist Russia. We're talking about the Soviet-style disinformation and lies and propaganda manipulating the public so that you've got gay folks and trans folks and leftists embracing an ideology, Palestinianism, that would kill them in a heartbeat. They'd string them up, all those blue-haired kids and all those, climate change protesters and your Greta Thunberg. This is all Soviet-style lies and propaganda, including the famine thing, blood libel, including the genocide thing, blood libel. It has Soviet lies and propaganda written all over.
Okay, to answer your question, before, the thing is, if you read Solzhenitsyn's final book that he wrote, and he made sure specifically to start this as his last publication, 200 Years Together, he actually goes in depth in the detailed history of the end of the Russian Empire and the beginning of the Soviet Union, and he concluded that no, Jews were not actually treated worse than anyone else in Russia. You can actually find far more evidence of the Russian czars taking actions against Catholics, against Tatar Muslims, than you do against Jews. In fact, some Jews, like Karaite Jews, were treated with every single same right as Orthodox Russian Christians.
You know what the word pogrom is? Have you ever heard the word pogrom?
I know
That is?
I know exactly
What's
what pogrom
pogrom?
is, and that has nothing to do with what I'm saying. So if
That's
you
what
please let me finish.
It was like little Holocaust.
All right, let him finish. Hold on. Let him finish, and then
He's rambling.
Abby can go. Well, but just try to wrap it up, Oliver.
Yeah, no, I'll try to wrap it up as quickly as possible. Speaking of pogroms, if you want to look at pogroms, look at the amount of pogroms that the Red Army did on Ukrainians and other white.
We agree.
This is not as in thin tone, but as in literally their political identification, white Russians that were in support of the Tsar, which was the majority of the population. Anyway, the same Soviet government that was then established, 11 of 13 major laws run by Jewish people. One quarter
This is
of
all
money is given to
conspiracy
Jews.
nonsense. You're making up theories now.
Yuri
Let him finish his conspiracy nonsense then.
An accredited Russian historian, in his volume about which is basically the precursor of the KGB, concluded that of the KGB officers during the time of the Ukrainian Holodomor in Ukraine, 57% of them had Jewish ancestry. What's ironic, people frequently detail the overrepresentation. Yeah. Yes.
Oliver, wrap it up.
Yes.
Norm, hush, child.
The point is, an Latvian overrepresentation of the KGB, you will find a plethora of articles, which is true, there was an overrepresentation of Latvians. But if you type the same thing with Jews, even though there was far more Jewish overrepresentation, it's all just labeled as all false, lies, conspiracy theory. And historians till this day in the West say that, yeah.
I looked into it because
He's just making stuff up.
All right.
I gotta respond to this because this is my
Okay, hold on just a second. Oliver, since you're done speaking, can you please put the one that you were talking about? Because the one that you were talking about is the U.S. military reporting this number of demographic. I highly don't believe that one. So if you could do that as well, because knowing how the military works, there's no way that they would be able to come up with that number. So what Norm was saying, there's like a lot of propaganda. It's on both sides. That's the problem. That's why we have people that are confused, don't know, and all this, I'm right, you're wrong, and what about this? It's confusing to everyone. And we're not trying to have you say like our point is wrong, as we're trying to gain understanding and insight. That's what I'm trying to do. So I think, excuse me, Norm, I think Abby wanted to reply, and then after that I would like to go to
This one hits me, hold on, this one hits me personally because my grandparents fled this. Exactly what he's claiming didn't happen is what actually happened to my family, and they fled. And we can go through the famous pogroms if you want to talk about the 1903 Kishinev pogrom, or the pogroms in 1905, or the pogroms that happened during the Russian Civil War. Tens of thousands of deaths, and Jewish families had to flee. They were massacred, whether they came in, they attacked their homes, their businesses, and the anti-Semitic sentiment was so bad that, we only have to look at our American history and the wave of immigration here to see when the flood of people came in from that region to flee the persecution that they were experiencing. Go visit the museums of Ellis Island or the history of immigration in those years. This is exactly what they were fleeing. Go and totally go see Diddler on the Roof. It's the story in that show. this is like bizarre what he's saying. I mean, it's like when you hear the Holocaust denial and you try to figure it out, and then like where does it come from? And then you hear now we have pogrom denial. I mean, it's just absurd. You can go to the Ukraine, you can go visit these towns in Kiev or in areas. My family was Odessa, Napa, Petrovsk. You can see the history there. Like some of it is still preserved. So it's just insane, and I take it personally because this one it's like there's so many families that if you look at their grandparents or their great grandparents, this is what they were fleeing and why they came here. So I just had
What's
to
funny
jump in
though
on
is that if you look at a lot of the, even with the Nazis used like this really strong anti-Semitic propaganda, that was a lot of that was that came from Tsarist Russia.
Yeah.
And so this is they were not, and it was with the immigrants that came from Tsarist Russia. Like I said earlier, there was a marked difference that they noticed between the Jewish people that came from there and the Christians, and it's because they were not allowed to take part, and they were basically kept sidelined, or I'm trying to think of the term.
Please stop doing drugs. This is crazy.
The world's most famous anti-Semitic text, The Protocol of the Elders of Zion, is a Russian creation. 100% BS. This is the source of these crazy conspiracy theories like you're hearing from Djibouti, who's going now by, I don't know what, general, since his account's been canceled so many times for his anti-Semitism and Jew hate. And then you have the
This
Khazar
is
myth.
nonsense.
Jews
There's
are
a Jewish
converts.
oblast in Russia, guys. There's a whole area devoted.
Well, there was back in
who cares?
Siberia. Yes.
Who wants to live in
They
fucking
tried to-
Siberia?
Yes, they tried to.
If I may, can I chime in? Since we're on the topic.
I mean,
Time zones away from Moscow.
Normal, you were in the Matrix.
Wonderful.
You're in the Matrix.
Wonderful. I said yes. They exiled Jews to Siberia, Moscow.
Your internet's
Hang on. Everybody calm down. Everything is going to be fine. Yes, they exiled Jews to Siberia, and they called that the Jewish Oblast, 10 time zones away from Moscow.
Yeah,
yes,
it's
they exiled.
1652.
Frederick, shut up!
Can you be quiet,
Yeah.
please,
And-
Frederick, and
and-
wrap it up, Norm?
Sure. I said the two main, the biggest myths about Jews, the most anti-Semitic text, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, a Russian creation, and the Khazar myth. The Jews are not.
Okay, move him down. Just move him down.
The Khazar myth, the Jews are not Jews that were some other Turkic Khazar thing, which like nobody's ever heard of. It's like a complete myth. That also has its source in the Soviet Union and in Russia before it. I just want to point out to you that Jews were so stigmatized there and subject to such horrible persecution. You know, they didn't call us Russians there. They stamped our passports Jew. Just the same way that Sam said that in Egypt, if he's a Christian, he's got to show his identity card and he gets, you know, it says Christian on it, and he's the subject of discrimination. Same thing for the Jews of the Soviet Union. Discriminated against, banished, sent to gulags, sent to Siberia. It just had their lives ruined. Pogroms in which were massacred by the thousands. All of this happened in Russia and the Soviet Union.
Okay, thank you, Al. I think Rubinstein, I want to go back to him because he wasn't able to go after Abby. Rubinstein?
Hello, everybody. Good day.
Hello.
I hope everybody's okay. I just want to say that the person who said earlier he was questioning the authentication of certain reports. I encourage everybody to do that on both sides. I don't think you have to have any prior knowledge of something to be impartial. A court jury can be impartial. They don't need any prior information before going to the court, if that makes any sense. So that's what I do. I do the same. I think it's a valid question to ask. How do you know if something is authentic if it's just a report? And if you notice, a lot of the reports, like genocide or whatever, ethnic cleansing, they contain speech marks, quotation marks, if you know what I mean. So I think it's okay to ask questions to find out if something's authentic or not. Does that make sense? Or do you think like if somebody's called to the courthouse as a juror member, do you think what they see on the television and news should be sufficient, and what's said in the court should go through one ear and come out to the other?
I mean, the experts on genocide, the international experts on genocide, did say that there is in fact a genocide being committed.
That is a false claim, sir. That is a false claim. The international court,
the ICC didn't feel that way, so they played.
the ICC did not feel that it was a genocide.
Let him finish, bro.
He did finish. I'm responding to him. The ICC considered whether it was genocide. The ICC considered whether it was genocide and considered the evidence and could have, and could have stopped the war. Excuse me. The ICC considered whether it was, mute up. The ICC considered whether it was genocide. The ICC considered whether it was genocide, saw that it was not, did not stop the war because it saw that it was not, and said, Israel, you need to do X, Y, Z to prevent the potential or plausibility that the Palestinian people need to be protected from genocide. Israel then went through the checklist and provided every single assurance and precaution and protection of civilians required by the court to show that it was not a genocide. That's what happened. It's all been recorded. You can watch. Hang on. I'm answering your question. Hang on, I will answer your question. Calm down. And you can watch this on TV in real time. It was all recorded. Watch the videos. The hearings went on for 3 days. You can see the evidence of, in detail of what I just told you. Now, what's your question?
Is that why Israel doesn't allow third-party investigation?
In fact, Israel does have third-party investigators. Douglas Murray just published a book-length account of the war in Gaza. This fellow named Chilton just went in there and published a massive video. He's with the Christian News Network, showing that there is no starvation, that there are trucks of aid that the UN is refusing to distribute. Today we're seeing evidence that Hamas is stealing the aid. There is ample investigation going on in Gaza. What's the guy's name? Richard?
John Spencer.
John Spencer, thank you. John Spencer of the United States War Academy. He teaches urban warfare at West Point, has been there numerous times, saying that Israel is the most moral army in the world, takes more precautions to protect civilians and non-combatants than any army in the history of the military.
Well, it makes no sense to me why you have a fucking Martha Stewart rag on top of your head.
We're not doing that, dude.
Take that Martha Stewart towel off.
Okay, everyone shut the fuck up. Quit interrupting. Norm, land your fucking blimp, and then we'll go on. Thank you.
I'm landed. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I just push back on what he said? I mean, the man who coined the term, Raphael Lemkin, he coined the term genocide. He repeatedly issued genocide alerts on Israel's actions. Ilan Pape, an Israeli scholar, he confirmed that this is a genocide. The UN, the leader of human rights, the commissioner of the UN Office of Human Rights, Craig Mokeba, he confirmed it. I mean, it goes down to aid organizations. And again, I'm going to be discredited, as I typically am, but why do we not allow the third-party journalists in? I mean, more than 140 has been killed, and you can argue, I'm probably going to be told that they were all part of Hamas, which I simply cannot agree and do not agree with, but why are they not allowed? I've always been
I just named three of them. Three journalists. I just named
Hold on.
Wait, just be quiet, please.
I didn't cut you off not once. So give me that.
Because you're too stupid.
I didn't cut you
I
off.
don't want to hear anything from a Jeffrey Epstein guy were you friends with Jeffrey
Okay,
Epstein?
stop.
Were
We're
you
not
friends
doing
with Jeffrey
personal
Epstein?
attacks. Shut the fuck up. We're not doing personal attacks. I know my rooms are usually like the most like horrible places where the most nasty shit is said, but this is, I'm trying to I'm actually just trying to moderate today, so I'm not, you know, no.
I got a question. Were you friends with Jeffrey Epstein? Be honest.
It's none of your fucking, you're going to the audience.
Excuse me, Prince Ali, you can just calm the fuck down. There's been other people that have been up here in the room listening and participating productively before that. So just sit down and calm down. El Normo, you're done talking for a while. We need to get other people. Aziz, did you get your question answered, or are
I'm
you
just gonna wrap it up.
complete?
Yeah, I just want to
Okay,
wrap up.
I think Spike 3, he's flashing his mic. He would like to.
Can I wrap up my point? Because I was rudely
Yes,
interrupted.
please. Yes, please.
Yeah, I just want to make the most compelling argument. The Genocide Scholars Association, which includes 800 scholars and practitioners of genocide study, they confirmed that what we're seeing, and that's 800 scholars, by the way, over all different ethnicities, backgrounds, and you know, all types of religions. This isn't an exclusively, you know, propagandized Muslim perspective. No, this is from all types of scholars. 800 of them have confirmed what we're seeing is a genocide. Now, if you don't believe them, you know, then who can we believe? You know, point me in the right direction, because maybe I'm lost.
I mean, briefly, I would say that you do. Hold on, Norm. I mean, you can. It's not hard to believe that you can find 800 people that would come to that conclusion across the world. And even then, I do think I can understand why they're not allowing more. I think it might be better if they allowed, you know, like, I don't know, Fox News and CNN. Granted, yeah, there's a good chance they'll be killed. They'll end up walking over a booby trap or something like that. But that's the risk they take. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. I think it probably would be better if there was transparency. Then, you know, there'd be less. People would be less likely to resort to, like, I don't know, just claims and conspiracy theories.
Wait, did you just ignore what he said? He said there's a general consensus of scholars and the studies of genocide that confirm it's a genocide. Do you know what that means?
But there's always going to be an opposite parallel of that mentality. Do you see what I'm saying? We're recognizing it, but then also there's going to be a flip side.
Where
we're not anymore.
We're sure, but I can get 800 economists, and some of them are going to be like highly revered economists that are going to stand by communism. Okay, now, does that mean because 800 people ended up experts? What?
But where are they? Where are
diminishing what he said. He said there's a general consensus of scholars in the study of genocide. There's general consensus.
No, amongst that 800.
Right, but where is the other 800 that say it isn't? I just can't see 800 that saying there is.
I haven't looked for it.
There's no consensus.
Well, actually, maybe if you define it, and you hear the word ethnic cleansing and genocide. So in 1948, there were 700,000 Palestinians. There's now over 7 million in the region. So I don't see the ethnic cleansing there. If you could show me how that happened from 700,000 to 7 million during the course of the 75 years Israel's been a state. And with respect to genocide, I put the definition in the chat. You have to intentionally be targeting the civilians, which they are not doing. They are intentionally targeting terrorists who use civilians as human shields to hide out. They hide their tunnels under schools, under mosques. The entrance to tunnels are through children's bedrooms. I mean, there's no question. The 800 people that you just mentioned will all also tell you that the method of fighting of Hamas is to unfortunately take innocent Gazans and use them as shields. So if you could show me the intentional targeting of civilians, which is what Hamas did on October 7th, and what Iran decided to do with its missiles shooting into civilian areas of Israel, then we can talk about that. But there's no intentionality here.
Well, Abby, you mentioned
Ruben, I'm talking. Ruben, you wanted to talk about a courtroom and what a jury sees, so I'm talking with the logic of the definitions, and I'm talking about the evidence, and I'm also talking about the actual intention, which if you look at what you decide as a jury, you have to look at what the intention of the actor was. And if the intention is to root out an enemy that's a terrorist entity, that's different than the intention which has been absolutely unequivocally stated by Hamas and by Iran to kill civilians. Two different intentions entirely. Can you acknowledge that, Ruben?
But you just
I agree with what you're saying.
Thank you.
I just want to say one thing to Mr. Aziz, if that's okay, then I'll shut. Can I, please? Or no?
Yes, quickly,
Okay.
Spike. Sorry,
Okay.
Spike.
Mr. Aziz, you was calling for independent journalists to go into Gaza, right?
Yeah.
You said that.
Yeah.
Okay, for what purpose?
For the exact purpose that we're having this room, you know, I'm being discredited and I'm discrediting people, right? How do we determine who's truly right? We have to get non-partisan people to enter the war zone and document. And you say, okay, well, if they go there, they may die. Well, a lot of the news stations are willing to die. There's journalists willing to die. Sounds crazy, but they're willing to document and they're willing to record what's going on. So let's.
Unbiased journalist,
what is the
Ruben?
logic?
What kind of journalist, Ruben?
Uh,
Like an Al Jazeera journalist?
I think we should have all kinds. We should have CNN in there.
That kind of journalist?
We should
One
have
more
Fox
question.
News, CNN and Al Jazeera
Is
and all kinds.
CNN unbiased, you think?
That's not.
None of them are unbiased. None of them are
Correct.
unbiased. Right. But this is the thing. This is what you fail to understand. I mean, you mentioned a couple of things, Abby. You said the population went from 700,000 to 700 million. Well, the population of the Jews since the Holocaust has increased. That does not undermine the reality of the genocide that was
Wait,
placed
could you
on
give
them
me the
by the
number?
Germans.
Could you give me the number, how many Jews were in the world prior to the Holocaust and how many after and how that
It's
grew?
more
Could
now.
you tell me the numbers?
I believe it's more now.
Wait, could you tell me what the numbers were? Do you know?
And I'd say by the definition of genocide itself, you don't need to
Okay,
reduce
so
the total
it's easy.
population.
It's easy. We could do the numbers if you'd like. How many
You don't
Jews
need
were
to
in the
reduce
world
the
prior?
but you don't. By definition, you don't need to reduce the population of the people to actually the total population by a period of
Right,
time.
but how many Jews were left in the world after the Holocaust and
but
how
that-
many were prior?
but
And
that's
it
not
took
part of the
75
definition.
years to grow it, correct?
That's not part of the definition. I can keep
Actually, it is
8
part of the
years,
definition.
sorry.
Yeah,
It's not.
Aziz, the problem is though, I don't know, was it roughly half the world's Jews were,
Yeah, roughly
or,
half.
or was it a third? What was it?
Roughly a half, between a third and a half.
And so we know that there is like a clear attempted genocide. That's the only real explanation. So it's do we see that kind of a blip with the Palestinians?
The issue is though that
Would you say that October 7th was a genocide?
No, I'd say it's a terrorist attack.
Right, but some people argue it is, and the reason, some people argue it is, but that's neither here nor there. Another thing Abby said as well, she mentioned the population number, and then she made another point. It was what was the second thing you said? I can't remember, but
The population is quadrupled of Palestinians. Think about that.
Okay, thank you. Norm, let Aziz get this second point off with Abby, and I have to go to Spike 3. So
Yeah.
Aziz, wrap this up, please.
Yeah, so she mentioned the population decreasing. I can't even remember. I lost. You can move on. So,
Okay, thank you so much. Spike 3s, and then Ruben.
So, like, it's so audacious to me how Abby and Norman keep referring back to the Holocaust, but what they fail to also do is cite what the surviving Holocaust, cite the fact that the surviving Holocaust victims actually speak out against what Israel is doing right now. They go to say, never again doesn't only mean not to us, but also
Which ones are you
means
talking
we cannot
about?
end up on the other side of it.
Spike, how many
Which ones are you talking about?
Holocaust survivors do you talk to? How many? Do we have one on the app? Would you like to talk to Sammy? We'll see if we can get him in. I just left the Indian commemoration of Auschwitz liberation with 80 of them. There's not many alive right now.
No, the thing is, you asked a really stupid question, and I
It's
guess my
not
other
stupid.
question
Have
is
you
why did those
fact-checked it?
same,
Have you
why did those
fact-checked it?
same, why did those
Have you
same,
fact check me? Fact check me.
before you call me stupid.
It's pretty.
Fact check me before you call me stupid.
You are stupid.
That's all I ask.
Okay, but why? Yeah, I'll fact check you. But
Can I join?
sure, but I guess, but if you see when the Holocaust happened, and then you see when Israel was created, and you see they immediately went into war with the Arabs, the six Arab armies.
They had a Nakba that they bragged
Yeah, I know.
about.
I know all about the Nakba. Now, when it comes to these, why were these people fighting against Arabs that didn't want them to live there? If they were not again.
Okay, so
These are the Jews that had to suffer through the Holocaust.
it's weird to me how you can hyperfixate on the generalization of calling these people Arabs, when in fact all three Abrahamic religions have been living peacefully in that area.
That's bullshit.
It's okay. Well,
No, we fought religious. What were the Crusades? What were the Crusades? Yes, I'll fact check you. What were the goddamn Crusades? What were the fucking? I'm asking you a question. What were the fucking Crusades?
Don't yell. You're making a good point. Don't yell about it.
Now? The whataboutism is so crazy to me.
It's not whataboutism. He said they lived in peace.
Listen, Crusades were delivering pizza. That's all they were doing, okay?
So back to what I was saying, it's just crazy to me how it's so much. It's like you guys select the information instead of looking at the broader spectrum. If you're gonna call me stupid, please fact check me. I'm still gonna say what I'm gonna say, and I'm waiting for the evidence.
Do I need to fact check whether or not the Crusades happened?
If you want to convert people's ideology.
What happened in the Bible?
Real quick, let me finish.
Who was fighting in the Bible?
If you want to convert people's ideology to...
Have you heard of the Armenian genocide?
Just let him finish so this would stop. Just let him finish.
Being an ass about it is not how you do it. I didn't cut anybody off. I'm not name calling. I didn't.
Okay, get on with it.
George, dude, just get to your point. Just get to your point.
It's crazy to me. You have so many Jews that speaking out against it, but y'all like pick your citations and purposefully ignore other citations. If you haven't done the research, I'm not gonna speak bad about you for doing it. However, what I'm saying is,
this is how you probably don't know this, but generally when you're the one who asserts the claim, it's your job to provide the source. So go ahead and provide the source.
If you're gonna disrespect somebody, make sure you do that before you open your mouth and disrespect them. I would never openly disrespect.
No, what's disrespectful is you came up on this day.
No, stop, doctor.
Not disrespect.
Got a whole fucking Martha Stewart towel on his head.
Stop, doctor. Doctor, dude, I told you none of that fucking shit, okay?
But he's got a towel on his head.
Fucking dude, doctor. Just like they're not allowed to call El Normo like resistance, like to call him El Nostro or some stupid shit. We're not allowing that, dude. So it has to be consistent on both sides.
And let me add another thing. When's the last time we saw journalists being censored? When's the last time we saw that?
Journalists are always censored during war.
No, not during the Vietnam War.
Yes,
not during the Vietnam War.
Journalists are always censored during war.
Vietnam War. Get to your point, Spike 3.
The last regime that we saw journalists being censored on this level was the Nazi regime.
Incorrect. The Americans censored during war as well.
Okay, well, where's your proof? Are you just talking shit, or where's your proof?
Well, I'm a professional journalist. I've been raised in journalism. I practiced it for, probably longer than you've been alive. Yeah, absolutely true. I graduated from Columbia. But it's true. I've been nominated twice for a Pulitzer. I graduated from Columbia University, considered the best journalism institution in the world. I studied with the best. So I'm very familiar. And by the way, I've worked in war zones on behalf of the United States. I've done journalism in war zones. I know how it goes.
Isn't exactly the best example when it comes to war. It's not the best.
Well, you asked a question and I answered you. Now I want to answer the other thing. Let me talk with him for 1 second. Spike, you have a sense of what you believe genocide is, Spike Freeze.
Yeah, I mean, recent reports say.
The
recent reports. Let me finish. You asked the question.
No. I got to yes or no.
So now you got to go to.
Hang on. Do you have a sense of what you think genocide is?
Recent low estimates.
No.
Okay, no. let me answer.
Okay.
Don't let me answer.
Okay, it's a yes or no.
This is what you guys do when somebody like tries
Let
to
him
you
answer
don't
the
do.
way that he wants to, Al. You
Like,
can't
you can't
micromanage
control
the
my
words
answer.
coming out of his mouth.
Okay.
No.
I'll
No.
continue then. Forget the question. Genocide is the attempt.
This guy's hijacking this thing.
You can go next, Oliver.
Listen,
No.
you can't.
Genocide is the attempt.
Norm, no, sir. You can't micromanage his words because he's not saying what you want to hear.
No, I
If you
asked him a
ask
yes
the
or no question.
Excuse me, I'm gonna ask you to shut the fuck up right now. You asked by threes a question. Let him answer it the way that he wants to in the capacity that his mindset is. I know it's not in agreement with you, but maybe we can all learn why he thinks the way that he is. Spike 3, do it quickly, please.
Recent low estimates have just recently been published that already 20% of the Palestinian population has been wiped out, and that's not counting all of the bodies not found and confirmed under the rubble. So yes, that's when you wipe out 20% of a country, of a city population. Yeah, that's definitely genocide. That's a huge percentage.
So 20%.
Already 1/5. That's already 1/5 of the population and counting. I don't know, like what?
Okay, thank you, Bruce. So
Would you rather be 75%?
I got it. Your figures are absurd. The best estimate is something between 55 and 60,000.
Only 55, 60,000.
No, I'm
That's
just being
not
accurate.
for you.
You just told a massive lie. So your idea of genocide is a massive lie based on your own words. I'm not saying that it's good. It is bad.
Well, I'll
Never.
post the link.
And
I'll post the link.
I'll be done in a second.
I'll post the
I'll
link.
be done in a, yes, we will see. Never in the history of humanity has there been a genocide that you can stop with a phone call, or a genocide that was started by the attacking country or people, in this case a people, not a country. So it was the Hamas picked up the phone and said, we give up, we'll put out our guns, we won't commit genocide on the Jews anymore, and here are your hostages back. This thing would have ended on October 10th of 2023. That's not a genocide. That's an attempt of Hamas in its charter to wipe out every Jew and Christian, by the way, on the planet, and to promise to keep doing October 7th. So what they're doing is they're projecting their intentions on the Jews. Sure.
Right. The 20% is wild to me, but he asked you, I think he asked you personally to get an idea of where your mindset is, right? I see Abby coming off mic. Do you want to talk about what Spike was talking, or
on Spike 3's comment? So Spike 3, let's go with the number of 50 to 60,000 at the Hamas Health Ministry, which we'd have to take Hamas for their numbers. Of that number, we know for sure at least 20,000 were combatants, and of the so-called civilian non-combatants, probably a good percentage are additionally part of the fight, and how they, they don't all dress in uniform. A lot of them blend in with the civilian culture. There were 2 million people initially in Gaza? I forget what the number was. Someone tell me the population. So let's say 2 million in population. For almost 2 years, what does a population of 2 million normally have of natural cause death? Just curious, how many people do you think die of natural causes of 2 million people in 2 years?
Are you reaching? So in this conversation,
no, I'm just asking
you decide, hold on, out of all the arguments, real quick, out of all the, no, don't micromanage. You cannot micromanage me.
I'm not finished speaking. I'm not finished speaking. I'm going to answer it for you then.
Oh, okay. As soon as I speak now, you're not finished speaking.
So let's assume of 2 million people, let's assume maybe 6,000 people of 2 million people might die of natural causes in a 2-year period of 2 million people. I think that's a pretty fair assumption.
That's
so
a crazy reach. That's a crazy reach.
We're building a straw man. I'm giving you, someone was on the stage saying, let's look at facts as if you're a jury. So here's the facts as if you're a jury. You have, of that number, at least 40%, 35 to 40% that we know are combatants. Then we add on natural causes. Wait, may I finish?
Hold on, Vitaly.
I'm not done yet. You add in natural causes, which I said 6,000, make it 5,000. Then you add on how many were killed by Hamas themselves. How many people in Gaza were murdered by Hamas? How many of the clans, the different clans that live in Gaza that were fighting with Hamas, did they kill? Also, there is a percentage from the rockets that they shoot and of their attacks that landed within their own borders. There's about 20%, usually within battle, that never made it across the border and landed in their own villages. So we can add in those numbers as well. So start breaking down the numbers. Pretend, as the guy said, you're a juror and you're taking in facts, and add all those facts up. And then tell me of actual civilians to combatant ratio, how that number fares with, I don't know, World War II, and how many Germans were killed by the Allies, or Japanese were killed by the U.S. forces. So, like, where is the number so extreme and a genocide when you've got a population of 2 million and you have an amount of deaths, and now break down what those deaths are. Now
Can I respond to that?
I think it was my turn to speak. The issue with all this is...
Can I respond to that quickly?
No, I'm responding.
Oliver was waiting, so let Oliver...
Oliver, then Vitaly.
The issue with all this is that all those numbers that were posited are just purely conjecture. If you look at how the IDF defines a combatant, it's the person who took part in hostilities against the state of Israel, whether directly or indirectly. So yeah, if you give a rock to a 13-year-old kid and he throws a rock at a soldier, yeah, you're a combatant. Much less the 13-year-old who like threw a rock at a soldier. If you look, there are testimonies not just from Palestinians, but from people in the army, some of whom who are actually proud of this, that are like, yeah, we view them all as combatants. We don't care about which of them we kill, whether they're in Hamas or not. There was a story of a Palestinian Christian in Gaza who got detained. Or no, was it detained? No, detained by the Israeli army in Gaza. He tried to appeal to them by saying, "Oh, I'm not Hamas. I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Christian. You son of a whore. You're even worse than Hamas. Fuck you." They don't care. So this whole idea that there's this low number of civilian casualties, complete just pure conjecture, based on whatever nonsense numbers an idea wants to pull out. I'm not. Can you let me? Yeah, thank you. No. There's another problem too with the whole logic of the population is growing. Aziz's point is correct. See, if you want to make the argument that there's no genocide in Gaza because the population is growing, well, based on this definition, if last year someone were to kill 2.5 million Americans, there would be no genocide in America, because exactly 2.6 million new Americans were born that year. This is like with population replacement, right? It's actually 3 million if you take the numbers that were just born. So yeah, if you want to go by that logic, if you want to see that, now we're doing this ridiculousness again. If you want to go by that logic, if Canada, Russia, China, or whoever decides tomorrow that let's bomb 2.5 million Americans, there's no genocide, because guess what? The population still grew.
That's correct. It would not be genocide. You're absolutely right. It would be an act of war.
Okay, Oliver, please don't hijack his time. Oliver, are you complete, or would you like to?
No, I'm not complete. No,
Okay.
What I find hilarious, I mean, look at the psychotic reasoning. Yeah, if we kill 2.5 billion Americans next year, it's not a genocide because more people were born. This is literally how these people fucking think. And yeah, we're supposed to take them seriously when they say there's no genocide in Gaza, because they just had more babies than we killed, right? This is
Oliver,
the whole...
can I pause you just for a second, sir? Hold on a sec. I hear you, and you're like very much on one side, but you are going back in history and trying to compare. The problem is with the equation. Oh, I thought someone was talking about Holocaust times and looking at those numbers. So would you be so kind to let me finish my thought, okay? So if if you want to come to an answer, it's very difficult to do so because the factors are very different and distinct compared to the actual groups that are impacted on both sides. So that's the reason why it's difficult to say like, oh, what is the legal term per se or whatnot. I hear that you think it is. Good to go. Roger, go. All right, great. All right, thank you, Oliver. Vital.
I didn't even finish, but okay.
Oh, okay. So do you want to finish, Oliver? I don't want you to get your boxers in a bunch, sir. Would you like to finish? I thought when you were done laughing that, sorry.
Respectfully, ma'am, the only people who seem to have their boxers in a bunch.
It's really quick what I want to say. Look, at the end of the day, we're all just like armchair philosophers on Clubhouse, right? There's actual scholarly work being done on the subject, and there is a consensus of scholars that there was genocidal violence inflicted upon the Palestinian population, specifically, I think, Gaza. And at this point, it's unanimous that there is a genocide or a genocide has occurred.
100% false.
So
100%
it doesn't matter
false.
what you say, normal.
just
It
let
doesn't
him
matter what
speak.
I say. It doesn't matter what Abby says. Doesn't matter what Oliver says. Doesn't matter what Abby says. Okay? Scholars have agreed on it. There's a consensus. Period. It's done.
This is unbelievably childish. As if neither of you, it's as if none of you have any idea. It's as if none of you have. Oh, you landed. You landed. You landed, sir. These people have no direct contact with Gaza. It's as if you have no idea what genocide is. So I will refresh your lacking memory and your lack of education.
You're a joke.
Genocide is the attempt to wipe out a people. It is clear that Israel does not, has not, and will not wipe out the Palestinian people. As we've pointed out numerous times, their population has quadrupled in Israel. There are no different laws for Israel and Palestinians or non-Jews in Israel. Not one. 100%. You cannot. You can be quiet now. You can be quiet now. This is a lie. This is a lie. We've gone over this many times. There is not one single
Also
law.
discriminatory housing.
There is not one single law that discriminates against non-Jews in Israel. Not one single one. Okay, you want to send them down? Okay, it's time. Okay, it's time to send them down.
Okay.
Next time. You can send them down
If
next time.
Israel is doing that, why would you blame them? Listen to you. Listen to you guys.
Hang on a second, Adam.
Norm,
Yes, I will
Adam's
finish it up.
doctor, he has it, and
Okay.
then, go ahead.
Israel's Declaration of Independence guarantees equal rights to Jews and non-Jews, and even to our neighbors equally. Israel has defended the Palestinians. Israel has fed the Palestinians. Never in history has an army had to feed its enemy. Israel provides safe passage for Palestinians. Israel provides humanitarian aid zones for Palestinians. Israeli taxpayers are now feeding their enemies Hamas. The idea that there's genocide against the people whose lives we're protecting, who we're feeding, it just boggles the imagination, and it makes me think that you have no purpose in making this accusation, except, as we know with Tabuki, you hate Jews. Because genocide is an attempt to wipe a people out. And we've never done anything to wipe out the Palestinians, except we've fought back against them when they've attacked us. They attacked on October 7th. They took our hostages. We want them back. Give them back. Hamas has said they will do October 7th over and over and over again. We want them to stop. It's non-negotiable. That's not genocide. It's a just war.
Can I respond? Thank you. Yes, please, Aziz. I was going to go to you. Go ahead.
So just quickly, the UN Genocide Convention of 1948 has a definition for genocide. It's an act committed with intention to destroy in part or in whole. It does not matter how many you kill. It does not matter if the population increases or decreases in that time, as long as you have intent to destroy in whole or in part. So now that that's pushed aside, I just want to talk on the matter
whole or in part of what? Could you read the full definition?
So
the
I'll
whole
read
or
the full
part
definition.
of a civilian population?
I'll read the whole thing out. Acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group as such. So it doesn't matter if
The
you destroy
intent to
them in
kill a population based on their ethnicity, their
Yeah.
religion. What was the
Yeah.
third?
The national, ethnic, racial, or religious group.
With the intent.
Which one is that?
The intent.
Right. So I mean, it overlaps a little, right? But that was
But the word is intent. The
Yeah,
word's
so that was
intent.
just a little rebuttal to what Norman said about the population decrease.
That's
But I
not
had
a
a larger
rebuttal.
point to make. Yeah, well, I just wanted to, because I wanted to include a definition, not the
That's not a rebuttal.
That's the definition. So make of that what you will. That's the definition. That's not my perspective or yours. That's the truth, right? And so that's not what I wanted to say. I wanted to say make a larger point. I mean, we talk about civilian casualties in Gaza, and we compare it to World War I and II. I just don't think that those are great yardsticks for the way we should conduct ourselves going forward, especially after World War II, and we came up with the Genocide Convention, all these kind of groundbreaking discoveries we made, and deals that we made. But the real problem is this: if you can strike a man in Tehran in his living room, right, halfway around the world, I'm pretty sure you could do a better job of sort of tackling an armed militia in the most surveilled part of the world that doesn't have a navy, doesn't have an air force. You give them food, water, and electricity, and you got a radar, sonar, you name it, any form of technology you have drones and everything. I'm pretty sure you could do a better job of just comparing it to World War II standards for civilian casualties, because I'm pretty sure Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the Blitz, and Dresden are not, shining examples of how we should be conducting ourselves, especially given that we're conducting a moral, quote-unquote, war. That's my point. And
A moral war? The fuck are you talking about?
Well, that's the perspective they give. They claim it's a moral war.
You're gonna go onto the battlefield and use pronouns?
Did the U.S. commit genocide in Germany? Did the U.S. commit genocide in Germany?
Some argue they did, and some
You
argue
think
they
so?
didn't. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say.
Well,
It's
is
hard
it
to say.
hard to say? I mean, that's just it. You just read the definition.
I would
You
say-
just
I
read
would
the
say-
definition. We killed how many
by
Germans
definition, I
in
would say-
Dresden alone? How many did we kill in Dresden?
By definition, I would say so, yeah.
How many?
By definition, I would say
25,000 in 32 hours.
Okay, so 25,000 people in 32 hours. Was the U.S. committing genocide in Germany?
Yeah.
I mean, by
Massive
Official genocide.
Hiroshima, yes,
Nobody's been-
and Dresden, yes. I believe so, yes. By Dresden and Hiroshima, Nagasaki.
Abby, this is what happens when this generation is raised on Teletubbies and
This isn't
Similac.
about generation.
Okay, they're completely stupid. A war is a fucking war. A genocide is a fucking genocide. You are stupid. You're stupid.
You're an intellectual. You're an intellectual.
Your opinion's about as useless as tits on a nun. You're a fucking idiot.
Come on.
Yeah. Don't get your knickers in a twist, little man.
Aziz,
Learn to speak English.
Aziz,
Says the American.
Aziz, can you put in the chat, and this is for anyone that wants to come up on stage and offer a point, but then they don't have the link for it. Can you just put it in the chat then? Great, thank you.
If there's anything you need me to...
Are you in England?
Yeah, if there's anything
Oh wait,
you need me to provide...
Aziz, you
just
sound
quickly,
British. So
I'll
if
answer
you're,
your question.
are you in England?
I am in England. If you need any sources
So
for anything
how
I've
would
said,
you
I'm
have,
happy to provide.
do you have parents that were in England when the Nazis were bombing London? Were your parents there?
Yeah. Not
Did
in
you ever
England,
talk
no.
to your parents or your grandparents about when the Nazis were bombing London?
Not my grandparents, no.
You're Pakistani, Abby.
I'm not,
Okay,
actually.
So,
You
was your
are.
that's
family
even
in
worse,
London
nothing worse.
when the Nazis attacked Europe? Was your family in Europe then?
No.
Okay, so you're calling what we did a genocide to the Germans, but you'd have to get context on it, and how someone sitting in London was feeling at that time when they were part of the Allied forces, or someone who was sitting in Europe as their country was invaded.
But I understand the emotional element of it. I
It's not
understand
an emotional element.
I do understand that, but
The country being
objectively-
bombed. London was bombed. You're in London, right?
Right, but
Walk down
Winston
Regent
Churchill.
Street. It was bombed.
Winston Churchill
They tried to
said-
hit the BBC. They hit the Langham Hotel.
Right.
Do you
But
know that?
Winston Churchill said, "I will strike them in the night, but while their children are sleeping." These are the things he said.
And would
So
you
I don't
think
know.
Winston Churchill
It's
was
a matter
a
of
great leader?
perspective. If you don't feel it is, that's your opinion, and if I feel it is, that's mine. But you know, that's
So you're against fighting the
You fought
Nazis,
against
I see.
Winston Churchill then? You would have
You're on the
stopped
side of the Nazis, right?
No, I'm
Been on the
not.
side of the
on the
Nazis?
side of the
Yeah.
Nazis.
I'm not.
This is such
I'm
a
on the side of
ridiculous
the-
drop.
Don't try to gaslight me.
No, I'm not
I'm on the
gaslighting
side
you.
of
You're
the-
defining genocide. You just said America committed genocide in Dresden.
In
I'm making
Hiroshima
you
and Nagasaki,
explain
I
that.
said.
You said
Hiroshima.
Dresden. You specifically also said
You said
Dresden.
Hiroshima and
You also
Nagasaki.
said
I said
Dresden.
Hiroshima.
No, you said Dresden. We didn't talk
I'll
about
read back the
Hiroshima. We
transcript.
only
You said
said
Dresden.
Oliver, would you shut up? He doesn't need your help.
But this is like dumb.
Oliver,
It's like a
shut up.
5-1.
Adam,
It's a
Okay,
Adam,
this is,
stop.
excuse me, this is between Aziz and Abby. Let them finish it out, please. Thank you.
So you would have been on the side of the Nazis then, with
No,
the
I think-
decision of
I'm
the
not-
Allies to take out Dresden. How
I'll tell
many,
you what it
Ruben
is.
took, what was it again? How many people died in 32 hours?
I'll
24,000.
tell you what it is. You asked a question of me. I'll tell you what it is. Sometimes I can look back at history and not just be red team, blue team. You know, I can see things for what they are objectively, knowing that I was not part of decision making and I had no emotional nor personal interest in the situation because I was not involved, nor was I alive. So I can take things for what they are, given the objective facts, and put them in a box, knowing that given the sign of the times, maybe in the moment you have to make a particular decision, and it may have been the right one or the wrong one, but I can still be.
Churchill made the wrong decision.
This is your defense of the Nazis, Aziz? Good job.
This is between Abby and Aziz, and they're gonna finish
Do you
it
think
up.
Churchill made the wrong decision and it was genocide in Dresden, which is what you said earlier? Are you still standing by that? That it was
No,
that in 32 hours that many people were murdered or killed?
Yeah, I think there could have been another approach, but again, that was the
What
decision
would
I
you
was
have
making.
done if you were fighting World War II and you were sitting in London getting bombed on Regent Street? What would you have done to stop the Nazis?
You know, again, I don't want to make a decision without having all the facts, you know. But I just think that was an aggressive military approach. That's
Do you
what
think
I'm
it was aggressive? So
But you're doing that for Gaza. You don't have the facts in Gaza, but you seem to have
No,
made
I
the
do.
decision.
I do, because we're live, we're living through that. It's easier to get
You
the
don't have the
facts.
facts, though. You don't have the facts.
Well, you know, I could argue you don't.
I'm going to argue that the United States military did not commit genocide by bombing Dresden. I'm going to make that argument.
And you know, and I respect that opinion. I respect that opinion.
Okay,
I'm
thank
not gonna.
you.
I don't have.
Can I?
It's. You know.
Can I argue
respect
that,
that.
please?
Go ahead.
Aziz, thank you, Aziz and Abby. I'm gonna pass the mic over to Ruben Sheikh. Thank you for reading.
Yeah, can I invite everybody to, at your leisure, you don't need to do it now, Google the World War II bombings of Dresden and look at the damage of the city, okay? Nagasaki, 60,000 innocent people killed, reported. Hiroshima, 140,000 people. In 32 hours, 25,000 people, innocent civilians killed in Dresden, right? These three are not gone down as genocides, okay? And the other question that I want to ask again to Mr. Aziz and other people who have said this, if you have, I don't know, 80, 100 scholars in genocide, right? All the news agencies are reporting it, all the humanitarian agencies are reporting genocide, and you have to accept, because of that evidence, and you have to conclude that Israel is guilty of genocide. What is the logic in sending journalists into Gaza if the world already knows?
Well, this is the thing, you know. I gave an example of the Genocide Council of the World, you know, 800 scholars, and I was told that, you know, that's not sufficient evidence. So, giving an opportunity for both the left, the right, both Israeli and Palestinian, pro-Palestinian reporters an opportunity to objectively or attempt to objectively report what we're seeing, that would alleviate any concerns you have or I have of there being a biased reporting, right? Is that not good? Is that not a good thing?
But you've already concluded it that it's genocide. You say it's unreasonable for everybody to think otherwise.
Right, and you've conceded otherwise, and that's why
I have not. I have not. I've not made any claims. I'm open that it could be genocide. I'm open it could not be. You're the one making the claim. please provide the concluded objective
Well,
evidence.
I'm willing to even forego my opinion. I'm willing to accept the fact that I simply just have a perspective.
Okay,
Favor.
I have no further questions.
Can I say why it is genocide? It has to do with the second part of its definition, the intent to destroy in whole or in part a specific group of people. And yes, what the British Army did in Dresden was evil. It was a war crime. Ironically, I mean, you mentioned before the Luftwaffe bombing of London. This was actually done in response to Britain hitting civilian targets in Germany beforehand. Not that I'm defending the Nazis at all, but let's give proper context to everything. But still, one second, let me finish. The difference is what the RAF did in Germany, as bad as it was, and for that matter, what the Luftwaffe did in London, as bad as it was not with the intention of either destroying the British people or destroying the German people. It was still wrong. It was still a war crime. But it was done. Oh my gosh. It was done to militarily take over a territory and occupy it. In the case of Gaza, though officially the stated goal of the idea is to destroy Hamas, there are more than a few, and by this I mean a lot, of people, both in Israeli society, the Israeli government, and the Israeli army, who actually said, no, we want all of these people out. We want them to go somewhere else. Europe, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, wherever the fuck, doesn't matter. We want Palestinians gone. The whole land is Israel. It belongs to the Israeli people. There are no Palestinian people, and they need to get the fuck out. So yes, this does meet the qualification of trying to destroy in part or in whole an entire group of people, because you want to remove them from your homeland. And your population, I mean, you can say that, oh, I don't, but, we've had surveys of Israelis that they constantly say this constantly. But yeah, for instance, the West Bank, the majority of Israelis do not believe that the West Bank should be sovereign Palestinian territory at all. The majority of Israelis are in favor of annexing the West Bank and not extending any type of rights to the Palestinians living there. You also said earlier that you can't name that there's not one single law in Israel that discriminates between Jews and non-Jews. One of my friends actually in the chat, an article that has about 65 and counting. The number is actually 90. The number. Okay, so let me name a few laws, right? There's the discriminatory housing law, which basically is like the Israeli version of Jim Crow and redlining and zoning, whereby Arab Israeli. I'm telling you the law. You can't hear the law if you don't want to listen.
In Hebrew or in English?
You can't hear the law if you don't want to listen. I understand you guys have an issue with it. So no, I'm telling you. So why don't you talk?
Norm, just let him say what he's gonna say. I can already tell. You guys aren't gonna agree. That's fine. Then he'll have to. Then you guys can call him out because he don't have it or whatever. Just let him finish.
Anyway, this law effectively bans Arab Israelis from living in about 66% of communities in Israel, because the communities are allowed to determine who is fit to live in the neighborhood. Now, these communities tend to be dominated by Jews, and they basically say that, yeah, if you're not fit to live in the neighborhood because you're Arab, which is why even most mixed cities in Israel do have a substantial amount of segregation. Another is the right of return law, which is applied strictly to Jews. It is not applied to the... what I don't get is no offense. KK, man, you said I was having my panties in a twist. You put me down but normal is allowed to do it
It's a bunch. It's the American idiom is a bunch. El Norma, please be quiet.
Anyway, another example is the discriminatory right of return law, which applies only to Jews and not to Arabs.
It doesn't apply to Israeli citizens. It's external. It's immigration.
I said it applies to Jews.
No, it applies to people that are not Israeli.
Oh my God, this fucking guy.
Okay, let him get to the point.
He's just rambling again about conspiracy theories.
Really
Okay,
not.
you can ramble down in the audience. Go ahead, Oliver. Norm, no. I'll bring you back up when he's done. It's not productive.
Yeah, there are plenty of other laws like this. I'm trying to think of another immediately off the top of my head. I have to go back and refresh myself.
The nation-state law.
Oh yeah, the nation-state law. That's a very good one. The nation-state law. This is a unique thing about Israel. Israel is defined as the state of the Jews, not the state of the Israelis, the state of the Jews. So Israeli constitution if you were an American Jew. Without Israel, Israel is your state. So you have more of a right to Israel
Also,
than the...
only Jewish people in Israel have a right to self-determination.
Exactly.
Yeah, the right of return law, we already stated that.
Yeah.
It's a Jewish state.
I have a
Do you have a
disagreement.
problem with being in a Muslim state? And
Yeah,
Muslims
Jewish,
have
is there another Jewish?
Yeah, I do.
England, isn't England an Anglican? Someone just reminded
No,
me.
it's not. It's not. I don't live in an ethno state, and the problem with it, with you. Yeah, but that's not the point. It's a constitutional monarchy, but that's not the point.
But
The
isn't
point
there a
here
church?
is you're
Isn't there a national
just can you
church?
stop? Can you stop asking the same question after it's been responded to? You parrot. But the point is anyway, is that it's an ethno religion. So the difference between saying a quote unquote Muslim state or an Islamic theocracy is that anybody can be a Muslim. But when you're talking about
What do you
a
mean
Jewish
anyone can
ethno
be a
state,
Muslim?
anyone can be a Muslim, anyone can revert. Anyone can revert to Islam. However, when it
So I
comes to
can't live in
Judaism,
Saudi Arabia. I'd like it there. It's
of course
great.
you can live in Saudi Arabia. Look, can you just stop? Are you a non-sister? Just stop for a second. The point here is that the dissimilarity, the asymmetry, is that when you're talking about an ethno state for a particular ethnic group, right? Like that is just like fundamentally, inherently racist, as opposed to Islamic state, where you might say they don't offer religious freedom, which I would agree with. But the difference being, they're saying anybody can become a Muslim, right? There isn't some real difficult process, some arduous process for you to become a Muslim. Whereas with Jews, there is obviously, even if it's the case that you have an increase.
We don't
Precisely.
proselytize. We
Right.
don't go out in the world
That's
and
not
make
relevant.
the whole world Muslim.
Yeah, but if you endorse an ethno state, you're a Nazi.
No, we're not Nazis.
You were a Nazi. Not like you, I'm saying you.
And
Yeah.
it's a Jewish state. And
Yeah, I denounce all ethno states, and I did, just like I would
How many
Nazi
Muslim
Germany.
countries are there? 57?
Yeah, I would be happy to do so. I'd relish in the opportunity to do so. However, that also allows me to call people like you Nazis. Because I'm consistent, and obviously you only like it when it benefits you.
Saudis and the Amans, we call them all Nazis too, right?
Yeah, this is something like, I'm going to say it one more time for you, I'm being pretty slow. So, if it's an ethno state, it's based on ethnicity. It's not like just a religious, so it's not just like this is a religious, theocratic state where if you're not a Muslim, you have to pay the jizya or something, right? Because obviously anybody can, all ethnicities can participate and can comprise this theocratic state. Whereas all you're saying is you have to be a Jew.
No, I'm not
right?
allowed to
Not
live.
just religiously.
I can't live in those places. I'm not
I mean, what
allowed
do I
to.
care about your whataboutism? You're just like a Nazi
But I
anyway.
can't live in
So
those
you can,
places.
so you can listen. You can point from your little
I can't live
Nazi
in
ivory
those-
tower.
I couldn't live in
Everybody
those-
else is a Nazi.
Ivory
You're a Nazi together.
How about you shut the fuck up and allow her to speak?
That's not.
Why? She's just a parrot, just like you.
Well.
And you sound like a dirty Arab from a shithole country that lives in the UK.
Yeah, doctor, we're not doing that.
Yeah, but he's calling her a parrot. Nobody's saying anything.
I know. Well, he's not using ethnic slurs like sometimes trying to
How
avoid.
about no
You just call Abby a Nazi.
Yeah, that's not.
Yes, he
that's
did.
not gonna
That's
happen.
a
And by the way,
Yes.
Pepe, I appreciate your moderation, and I take back a lot of what I said about you. I apologize.
Okay,
Now he's
we're gonna
trying
just.
to honey pie
Yeah,
you up.
that's.
No, he's being a decent
No, no,
moderator.
no.
I have to credit where it's
Okay.
due.
Okay, that's gonna be closed now. Please.
May I go now? Let the record, thank you, let the record show that Shibuki, who's calling himself general these days, he's gotten canceled so many times, did not name one single law. He said discriminatory housing. I said read the law. He didn't. Then he said that Jews who are not in Israel are allowed to go to Israel. Well, that doesn't affect people who are in Israel. That's not a law that discriminates between Jews and non-Jews in Israel. Israel is, in fact, the most diverse country in the region, with the Yazidis and the Baha'i, all the people that were kicked out of all the Arab countries, South Sudanese, Christians, Muslims, Samaritans, all of them in it. Yes, they're all in Israel. And there's not one single law. There's not one single law that you name. You didn't read a single law. Not one. There's no housing law. You just lied about that one. Then you said that Jews. Yes, Israel was formed. It's not an ethno state.
It is a state that is formed for a refuge from Jews all over the world. We consider ourselves a family, a nation, a people with a text that is the Torah, with a set of laws coming from the Torah, with a language which is Hebrew, and with a land which is the state of Israel. We're a family, a people, and a nation, self-defined. And we don't deny that same thing to the Arabs around us. The only requirement we make is that they not attack us. It's the only thing we ask. And we have a peace deal that lasted for a long time with Egypt. We traded them land for peace. Same thing with Jordan. We traded them, we just made a peace deal with them, with UAE, with Bahrain, with Morocco. We have a peace, by the way, with Saudi, but it's not public. We all work together to fight our common enemies, Islamic jihadism, and the Iranian genocidal regime. There's no apartheid, there's no difference in the laws for anybody in Israel, according to our Declaration of Independence. He didn't name any laws. He said there were 65. People always mention that number. They never even look at one single law. I urge you to read us the law. By the way, what is it they said that self-determination is a Jewish? Yeah, so what does that mean that non-Jews can't do? What is one thing that non-Jews in Israel cannot do? There is nothing.
Mr. Elmore, I have one.
Anyway, it's like I literally listed.
No, I want to hear from Ruben Chick. You went already. I want to hear from Ruben Chick now. You didn't read one law. You had the chance. You had the chance to read the law. You didn't do it because there are none. You got nothing. You're not. You got nothing. Read us the law.
You can keep rambling there.
No, read us the law.
I assure you my lungs are quite a bit.
Read us the law. No, they're not. You're a little nothing. Go ahead, Ruben. Thank you, Ruben. You had the chance. You had no law.
I didn't want to address them because that's what you've been doing this whole filibustering and saying a bunch of nothing.
Name a law.
Anyway, you got another thing that
name a law.
is false.
I'm waiting for you to name a law.
Our allies against Islamic terrorism.
Name a law.
You literally have been caught funding Al Qaeda.
Jabuki, name a law.
Jabuki, in Al Qaeda.
Jabuki, you're running. Okay, KK, why don't you set him up and call on somebody else? He's not gonna say it. You've been defeated again, Jabuki.
Okay,
Just another day.
if you guys aren't going to play nicely, and if you're not going to give a law or name a law.
I gave the laws. I gave you 2 laws.
Can you
You didn't
inform
listen.
it?
I gave you 2
Where
laws.
is
No, you
it?
didn't.
And my friend posted the link in the chat. 265.
Read us the law. I'll wait.
There is
right now.
a link in the chat from.
Read it right now.
No.
Or shut the fuck up. Seriously. Read it.
You're not my master.
Okay, well, that's because you got nothing. Fair enough. Okay. Let the record show you had nothing to say.
I described
All right,
to you.
KK, let's move on.
I described to you
Thank you.
3 laws.
Thank you,
Thank you,
I
Oliver.
described 3.
Thank you. I don't want, I can't right now. The filibustering is just
There's
not
only one person
productive.
filibustering, and that's normal.
Excuse me,
Thank you,
you
John.
are
You're trying to be
over
Shabbos
and
men here,
over.
but like, come on, it's not
Oh,
even
Lord,
funny.
that.
Oliver, shut up!
Having their period, and it's just really bothersome, like, really.
I find Shabbos boys very
What?
Thank you, Jabuki.
Okay, all right, thank you. Shut the fuck up. How's that? Aziz, I'm still looking for your counseling.
Oliver, put your hijab in your mouth and be quiet.
Dude, doctor, I'm getting sick of your shit, dude. Like, this isn't you're like just being disrespectful. Like, I told you not to do it.
Because she's being
KK
biased.
Christian, by the way.
She's being very biased. She keeps saying I'm filibustering.
I know. You're a victim now. I'm gonna meet you with Twitter
she's
with a
a
big V
check
for victim.
Well, to be honest with you, I purposely today up, and it's just because if you know, I'm technically like, you know, I'm a Zionist and all that, but you know, I'm not. I know there's people with way stronger opinions on both sides, and I don't even know what KK's
And that's the problem.
but
Can we also resolve the issue with the
When we've
American
given
Army?
3
That's a
laws
resolve.
and a link
excuse me.
describing 65,
Can we
and
get
she's saying that we're bringing
resolution
no
on that?
evidence. It's
stop?
literally in the
And
chat
I-
already.
Can you stop? Can you stop?
As a Zionist boy, I have to say, you know, we're gonna wipe out God.
Can we get resolution
God.
that the U.S. Army did not commit genocide? I'm really bothered by his comments on that. I wanted to be clear that that was an absolute
That was
ignorant
Aziz's,
statement. Yeah.
Aziz's claim. I read the article that was in the league. I forget who brought it up. That was saying Holocaust survivors were trying to compare whatever. And then Aziz, I still haven't found your council. I've looked for it, and it doesn't exist.
It doesn't
with your
exist.
800
I'll
scholars.
find it.
So it says, thank you. I've asked a couple of times, and I still haven't seen it, because I want to see where this council is, but is it
Yeah.
an
So,
arm of the
I'll give
United
you the name.
Nations?
I'll give you the name.
No, I don't want the name. I want the link of the information. Thank you.
Okay.
I've
Ruben
posted like
Yeah.
5 links.
The genocide scholars.
Thank you. Thank
I'll
you.
post-
Ruben
I'll post-
Sheikh. Ruben Sheikh. Thank you.
Yes.
So do we resolve disease that you don't think the U.S. Army committed genocide? Can we get through that?
I think that I'll clarify. I think that was a military overextension. I don't, you could call it a genocide. That would be based on whether the intent was to wipe out the population. But I'm assuming there was a bit more of a militaristic approach being taken. They were in the middle of a war, so I don't think the true intention might not have been to wipe out a bunch of people. But the reality is the outcome. It has shades of reflects. It looks as if it looks like, sounds like genocide.
But the intent wasn't there, right? And isn't intent what we were talking about?
It's a big
That
part
you
of
don't
it.
have the intent.
It's a big part of it.
Genocidal intent. You're in a war.
It's a big part of it. I mean, if I just think it was a
Part of it, according to the convention.
So if you look at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I mean, Japan were on their knees. They didn't. It wasn't necessary. If you again,
They weren't on their knees. That's why we dropped the bombs. That's also why Russia got
They
hammered.
weren't.
They didn't surrender.
We've got a bunch of cities.
There was no existential threat when we
There
did
was,
Hiroshima and
because it was.
Nagasaki,
I don't think you understand also, like, you have to look at it in context. Like, even with Dresden, the Germans wanted to fight it out on the streets. World War II was a lot different from the
No, but you're talking about Germany now. I'm talking about Hiroshima.
Yeah. Okay, but even
they
then,
were more fanatical.
The Japanese were
It was estimated that 5 to 6 million American troops would die to conquer the 5 main home islands. And
They were
there was
committing
firebombing
genocide.
of the cities. There were firebombings of the cities that were made Hiroshima and Nagasaki pale in comparison, and they didn't surrender. They didn't surrender after the first atomic
After Hiroshima.
Yeah, exactly. So, like,
Listen,
the notion that they
like
were...
I said, I'm not.
but the problem, the thing is though, is that in a weird way, I know it's a ugly thing to do math over, but it likely saved lives and it put an end to
And
the
on the
war.
Japanese side too. I mean,
Exactly.
if you look at Iwo Jima and the number of Japanese to American ratio of death, Japanese lost far more than the Americans lost. The Americans lost a lot. It would have, if we lost anywhere, the estimates were 5 to 6 million troops. They would have probably lost an order of twice that amount in civilian workforce.
They were literally committing genocide against the Koreans, the Chinese, and the Filipinos as they were losing the war. As they retreated, they were gratuitously slaughtering Filipino people. We literally stopped the genocide by dropping the atomic bomb on them. It's the opposite of a genocide. The same way that Israel is committing the opposite of a genocide with the Palestinians.
They're completely unrelated. Don't think we can draw many parallels.
What's unrelated? What is unrelated?
What
What is
we're seeing
unrelated?
I mean, it depends on how you define it. I don't consider
What is unrelated?
I'm answering the question, Norman.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's unrelated to what?
Right, I'm answering the question. Do you want to just keep speaking?
So hold on a second.
No, let him finish.
He did bring up, and I know that's you were trying to say, give examples of what you think might have been a genocide, and then that was kind of why it was being compared to Gaza, but that's when you brought up Dresden and Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Yeah, and I did make the point
civilian targets.
I did make the point that I can't definitively confirm or deny. It's a bit more difficult for me given the circumstances, given the circumstances.
Why did that faggot Norman have to say that we dropped the atomic bomb? You little bitch,
We
you're
did.
just really thinking it.
Dude, shut up! We're not doing that.
My father served in the army and I also
Jew
served
living in
before.
Israel. There's no we.
Oh
You're
my gosh, shut up.
Dude, we're not doing that. Look, first of all, he got moved to the audience. Yeah, dude, we're not doing the calling people Jews and Muslims, whatever names people like to call them.
I'm an American
Can I
Jew.
also-
My,
can I also say
all
that
of my
my father-
grandparents and my
Wait,
father
hold on.
served.
My father was in the 1st Marine Division in the Solomon Islands, fighting that. So in his honor, this idiot that said that, please advise us in the chat, all of your family members that fought on behalf of the United States.
Abby, we don't need to call him an idiot.
Sorry.
It's not, that's a personal attack, so I have to be fair with that.
I got a quick question.
Aziz, before we go there, Spike 3, Abby, did you finish your conversation with Aziz and clearing off the American soldiers did not cause genocide, or does that need to, did you get what you wanted?
I mean, I hope that he realized, and thank you for some of the other information regarding World War II to try to get context on it. Aziz, so it's people are quick to make these statements out of context and not understanding actually what militarily was happening and what was happening in order to stop something worse. So I hope you can see that, and I hope this conversation was civil about that.
I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I do think the context between the two are slightly different as well. You know, there's significantly more existential threat during World War II than there was, and that's why I'm so passionate about what we're seeing in Gaza and Palestine, because I just don't think that Hamas can wipe out Israel. I just do not think that's a possibility. I know October 7th was terrible. I can even condemn it. I'm happy to do so, but I just don't think that Hamas can wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Post October 7th, the death toll of Israelis is
But that's not
so
the
low
definition of genocide, whether they can or not.
I'm not talking about genocide right now.
Aziz, I'll agree with you. I don't think Hamas would have ever been able to, quote unquote, wipe out Israel. But I mean, what happened on October 7th was like so egregious that there is no country that I can think of in the world that would not have like a military response to go after the group responsible. I mean, I think you would agree with that.
I agree. I've even said, I to not expect a military response would be naive of me. Obviously, every country in the world would have, but then there comes a moment where you say, is there another way? And obviously, other ways haven't worked. Maybe diplomacy hasn't worked, or maybe a military approach hasn't worked. But I just think that you're significantly more capable than Hamas, and so the onus is on you. Given the fact that they are a proscribed terrorist organization, we cannot. And we should refuse to conduct ourselves at least the same, if not worse, in many people's eyes. I just think that's not good enough. And, that's my opinion, and you can have yours.
Well, they deliberately attacked civilians, and we did the opposite. We deliberately preserved civilian life.
We're going to give Ruben Shika an opportunity to speak now. Thank you. I think he wanted to respond to Aziz. Go ahead, Ruben Sheik.
Well, thank you very much. By the way, I wish I had a more masculine name than chick in my surname. But anyway, I just wanted to say, I could tell you something which is discriminatory in Israel. I would say the law that Palestinians or Muslim Arabs in Israel do not need to serve in the IDF. Jewish Israelis must do. And I'm thinking about one thing in America.
The Orthodox people.
I'm thinking about another thing in America, employment discrimination, where people with national origins would never ever be allowed to serve in some positions. United States the president, for example.
Ruben Sheik, will you concede that when Jewish Israelis and Druze serve in the Israeli army, they're also protecting the Palestinian Arabs or the Israeli Arabs who live in Israel?
Of course.
Of course. So Israelis are risking their lives to protect Israeli Arabs. That's a fact.
And many Palestinian Arab Israelis are protecting the state of Israel from terrorists too.
100%, as well as the
Just
Druze,
because
our
they're
allies.
Palestinian in Israel, don't sit here and try to act like the Israelis that are fighting against the Palestinians are doing it on behalf of Palestinian
You
Israelis.
said Israeli
Every Israeli.
No, they're doing it to further their own agenda. It just so
What is
happens
their
to be
agenda?
Palestinian.
What is their agenda? You don't even know
For
anything
new
about
great,
Hamas,
for
but you have
greater
to.
Israel, for greater
What is the
Israel.
greater?
Obviously,
What is
they
okay?
said
What
it.
is that? I get it, but I want you to tell me. I don't want anybody to help. What is the greater
territory.
Israel? To where?
To expand their territory. Like what?
To
What
where?
do you mean? What is it? From there to goddamn Iran, Syria, all that, Lebanon, all that, like all the places they've been bombing. Like, what are you talking about?
We've been around for almost 100 years.
Bro, I sent you links, Pepe. I don't know if you did the due diligence to go look at the links, but it's like you keep taking this, you keep being combative towards me whenever I say something. I've sent you some links. Go. How about you go look at the links? The same shit you called me stupid for, I sent you the link to prove you wrong. I deserve an apology. But
What did
other
you
than that,
wait? What did the bring? I'm sorry, I'm driving right now. What was?
I mean, you could go. I did it on my own time. I went and found the links on my own time. You could read them on your own time. I don't care to discuss it on here, but I sent the links like I was supposed to.
What did he call you stupid about? What did you refute?
Well, I don't know. Work on your listening skills. Other than that, when you guys
No,
talk
I
about
asked you a question. You made a claim.
No, I'm talking about. I don't care. You don't run the room. You don't run the room, Normal.
Just let him finish. Just let him finish. The reason why he was called stupid is because he has a Martha Stewart living towel on his head.
Okay, Adam.
Oh yeah, Martha Stewart.
Spike
Yeah,
threes,
how funny.
please go. Spike threes.
You're hilarious.
Go ahead.
Okay, people bring up diplomacy. Benjamin Netanyahu has repeatedly, throughout this whole ordeal, turned down ceasefires with hostage exchanges. Why are you guys ignoring that Bibi Netanyahu had no intentions of actually squashing this shit through diplomacy? Like,
Did
what?
you want to? When did Hamas offer to release all the hostages?
Please do your due diligence. It was over 8 different times when they offered. Yeah, they never did. Bibi Netanyahu fucking turned it down every single time.
They never offered to return all the
He was
hostages.
so headstrong on driving the world into World War III. Like, I don't understand how you guys are like, are you pro-war or are you against war? Like, don't sit here and talk numbers, talk racial, ethnic backgrounds. Like, you're either for it or against it. There's plenty of ways they could have went in and dealt with Hamas. Not by killing civilians. That is the bottom line. That is the bottom line.
Okay, cool. So I want you to tell me, because no military has been able to do it. How do you go into a densely populated area and only kill bad guys?
This country is the same country that killed Gaddafi in Libya. Did they bomb? Did America bomb the whole Libya, or did they send in a recon team to assassinate that man? Recon was
killed by his own citizens.
Recon
That was one guy.
Yeah, because they bought out the surrounding countries to turn on him. Like, come on, do your research. Anyway, special ops units aren't anything new to fucking America. I'm friends with Marines that are special ops. They're also too manly to think that it's okay to kill innocent women and children. How many people on this stage could sit here and point? Hold on, let me finish.
You're not getting.
Hold on, let me finish.
Special ops. No, I can't let you finish because special ops. No, I can't, because special ops exist.
Let him finish.
Special ops exist in small numbers. They literally do small operations, and if it is going to involve like a conflict with a bunch of people, where they'll have to fight a lot of combatants, they have a reaction force or what do you call it? Like basically backup to. Along, like the special forces would rely on the Rangers, the Navy SEALs have to utilize Marines. It's their.
That's what
otherwise
you have
they do.
to
They
do.
do small.
Then that's
okay,
what you have to do.
Okay. You say that, but hold on a second. There's only a very small number of special forces in any given country. They can only be at a couple places at a couple times. You cannot go through the territory of Gaza with just special forces. There's not enough of them. That's impossible.
Bro, where are you getting this from?
It's simple
Where are
math.
you getting this from?
It's
Cut the head off the snake.
Oh my
Cut the
God.
head off the snake. You don't take down civilians.
We did that.
Don't take down civilians with them. You don't take down civilians with them.
Okay, excuse me, Spike 3. Listen, Pepe is correct. You can't just do that. There's a lot of, there's strict laws and standards for which to be able to utilize our U.S. military, right? Logistics-wise, it's a whole nother thing. Okay, when you say chop off the snake, we've done that, but guess what happens? Another snake, excuse me, I didn't interrupt you. I'm just trying to give you perspective so other people can understand maybe. When another snake is going to pop up and appear. So you're like, we have special forces. So I will share this with you. My family member was an infantry Marine officer. He did knock, knock, bad guy, get out, all along the Syrian border in Iraq. Okay, so understanding what that cause and what it needed to be done, there was no SOP, standard operating procedure, to be able to do that. They created it due to just this actual circumstance. So they have to eliminate, separate. So you have to separate the women and the children from the adult males on one side. You have to vet them to determine who is what compared to the tribal leaders. It's not as easy what you are saying to do. Like, it just literally is not. I'm telling you, coming from an infantry family, it is not able to do.
Yeah, it's harder to invade a school and take out the school shooter. So let's just bomb the whole goddamn school.
I don't think you're understanding.
You're not understanding the point.
Even if you were to not drop bombs, for example, you would have, let's just say you had infantry, right? They don't just have guns. They have other small arms, but.
Wait, why are you guys ignoring
when it comes? Hold on.
Committing genocide.
Hold on. I don't think you realize that just in firefights, okay, innocent people get killed and they get struck by gunfire. There's friendly fire accidents that even happen. It's not. You're asking for like a surgically precise, clean way to wage war without any civilian casualties, which is that's never existed. I think that's the part you're not understanding.
When was there ever a war, especially an urban war, in which non-combatants did not die?
Civilian city. You don't flatten the whole entire goddamn city.
All right.
Why not?
Excuse me.
Why not?
Excuse me, both of you. The reason why they have to flatten the city is you have to remove the compound and the ability, the operations for the terrorists to be able to operate in that area. Because if not, they'll just come back. They'll just literally come back. That's the reason why they had a whole operation called Operation Iron Curtain along the Syrian border to cut that and infiltrate that up. Prior to doing that, they cleared out 8 to 9 cities along the way in the capacity that I did. What do? They send in special intel. They get the intel, understand potentially where are the bad guys. They talk to the leaders. They have an idea, all right? Then before they go in, they have to do a sweep. There is in the military infantry, there is a direct line of how they have to operate things. Now, after they cleared all the men and women, and separated the women and kids in one, and separated the men, the ones, because they tell them, they notify them, they drop leaflets, they say, we are going to come here, please come out, please come out, and that's what they do.
And they killed them anyway.
Say, and excuse me, fuck you, they did. Okay, so what they did then is they have to go in and find those bad guys. They have to find the terrorists and they have to shoot them because they have ill intent. Also knowing these terrorists are using the women and children as shields in front of our U.S. service members. That puts them in a whole nother predicament. And listen, after we have, if there is a group, and even if it's a mosque, they will call to fire and have an airplane come in and to destroy that, or the actual tanks. That is the reason why. So they can't go back literally for that. That is literally the reason why they do that. So maybe it's not, to your liking, but guess what? war is not to anyone's liking. There's always casualties of war. There's always innocent lives that are killed. There are always buildings that are bombed up, and it's not going to be to anyone's exact liking. But that's the reason why they flattened the cities out, because they've already separated the off. Now listen, and the IDF actually did this because they had MARSOC with IDF, not with them inside doing raids, but they coached them on how to do the knock and cordon. Like that, they literally went over there with them. So they've tried.
We don't know what MARSOC is.
Okay, so they were so diligent.
It's like
Marine Special Forces.
They're Special Operation Forces. It's the Marine version of the SEAL Team 6 or the Elite Rangers, Army, etc. That's what I meant. Sorry, Al.
So they were so diligent that they killed their own hostages. Shot them right in the back.
They didn't shoot him in the back. They shot him in front because it was a mistake.
Oh yeah, even better. They shot him in the front.
It was friendly fire. Yeah, it was a horrible accident. So what's your point?
And it happened.
That's not being diligent. How many accidents? How many times? Hold on, wait.
Spike.
Every single combat, it happens.
Spike, I don't think you understand. With the best, even amongst who's the name of that guy? He's from here, or at least he went to school here. Pat Tillman. He was an Army Ranger. They're, as far as infantry goes, they're like considered pretty elite. He got killed in a friendly fire incident. That fucking happens. There's no. You have this weird like movie fantasy of how war is supposed to be, but like it's not.
It's not all Call of Duty.
The justification for deaths of innocent lives is just crazy right now.
There's no justification. There's no justification.
Innocent survivors. I said the military goes in there and they separate the women and the children in one tent. Then they go ahead and vet the adult men to ensure that they're getting the bad people out. Because guess what? The people that live in that actual community will be able to say, we don't know that person. We don't know that person. That person had guns in our floor. This is where we live. Like they literally clear and they mark it on the door after they cleared each house to ensure that it is that everyone, all the innocent civilians as much as possible are out. That's what they literally do.
That's why the casualties of non-combatants is so small. That's why we didn't just drop a bomb on a city and flatten the whole city. No, we evacuated.
More to you, because we already established over 55.
Okay, yeah, John Spencer. So that's kind of where John Spencer goes. Now I understand. You're going to hear the numbers. Okay, shut the fuck up. Okay, you'd have to look. It's basically a ratio. It's the number of non-combatants killed versus combatants is at least from what John Spencer was saying, it is pretty low, even especially in comparison to our wars in like Fallujah, and I forget where else, but Mosul. And so basically, the reason I'm bringing those two up is you would have to compare it to urban fighting, excuse me, as opposed to like rural Afghanistan, which is it's different. But their non-combatant versus combatant death ratio is pretty low. So
I think it's the lowest in human history, to be honest with you.
I mean, it could be that Israel is over-responded. It could be that like once we get clear information, is that you can't really get the trustworthy information, I guess you can say, out of Gaza right now. It could be, maybe, yeah, they did overreact. I don't know, and I'll call them out if they did. But you can't I just think it's weird. There's so many people prematurely saying that, oh, this is definitely happening. It seems like even most experts right now don't even amongst the kids, what is the total number? And what percentage of those quote-unquote kids were actual Hamas fighters? Because in that area of the world, teenage boys they're definitely trusted to fight.
You have missiles launching from a school or a hospital. if you have Mohammed Sinwar hiding under the European hospital, which he was, what are we supposed to do exactly? And the tunnels are booby-trapped, and there's hostages in the tunnel. You know, they deliberately put us in an impossible position. They take our people, and then they dare us to come and get them.
So we're coming and getting them. Tunnels that had the calendar in it that said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
No, not that tunnel. Not at all. The tunnel
what other tunnel?
No, I'm sorry. I'm telling you. Just listen. I'm telling you. I tried to talk
the footage of the 40 beheaded babies too, right?
Listen, dude. We have the footage of Mohammed Sinwar hiding in a tunnel underneath the European hospital. We filmed the whole thing. By the way, we film all of this stuff. So if there's ever anybody that wants to be called to account, we're going to show them the video. That hospital you're mentioning is Al-Shifa Hospital. Do you know that we went back a couple weeks later and we fought a 2-week pitched battle in the maternity ward and the emergency room? The Hamas fighters were in the maternity room and in the emergency room. Now, what the hell are combatants doing in the maternity ward? That's a war crime. Does that mean that we're not going to go fight them?
Israel has literally killed so many children.
Did you hear what I just said?
Those fathers are going to fight.
Did you hear what I
Those
just
fathers
said?
are going to fight. They have nothing to lose. They lost their homes. They lost their wives. They lost their children. What the fuck are you talking about? What have you
What I'm
lost?
talking about is, if they're going to keep our hostages, we have a right to go and after them. That's a fact.
Benjamin Netanyahu rejected every hostage exchange.
That is not a fact. That is not true.
It's a fact. I just sent Pepe the fucking link. Like, be quiet, bro.
It's not true, sir.
Be quiet. I sent him the link, and it's coming from the Times of Israel.
Let me tell you something.
My links are all Israeli sources.
Sir, you're false. You are false.
Yeah, exactly. Israel are liars.
This is what Hamas
One at a
wants.
time, please.
They want like 1,000 of convicted prisoners from Israeli jails of terrorists, and it's
Not
for
convicted,
each one of our
actually.
hostages.
I'm not
What's that?
convicted. They haven't even been put to
convicted.
trial.
A lot of them are convicted.
Yes, they have.
They haven't even been put to trial.
Convicted under the Military Code of Justice, 100%.
That doesn't require a trial.
They are convicted under the Military Code of Justice. I don't know why you're bringing up irrelevant shit. We're not going to give 1,000 people for each one of our hostages, our grandmothers that they took in their pajamas out of their farmhouse in the middle of the night. And after raping and slaughtering her daughter in front of her.
Yes, like
We're not kindly disposed towards these people. They do have the option to surrender. The Jews did not have the option to surrender in World War II. The Armenians did not have the option to surrender to the Muslim Ottoman Turks. The Muslims of Srebrenica did not have the option to surrender in those genocides. The Houthis did not, the Tutsis did not have the option to surrender to the Houthis. It's not the same, sir. It's not genocide. And of the people who have expressed these angry comments in Israel, not one of them has command and control of the IDF. And I should point out that I think it's something like 70 to 80% of the Palestinians are in favor of October 7th and of doing it again. So yes, we are at war, but not every war is a genocide. And I defy you to draw a distinction between this war and any other and explain to me why this one is genocide and the other wars are not. I defy you. Who gave me the 100%? I appreciate it, whoever you were.
I think it was Miss Elizabeth down there.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Elizabeth. I met Ms. Elizabeth in the real world. Thank you, Ms. Elizabeth. Spike, do you have any response to anything I just said to you?
Yeah, I'm responding with links. That's how I respond.
Well, why don't you use words? Because this is an audio.
No, because I use words, then you ask for proof. So I just jump straight to the conclusion of the proof.
That's right. Start with the words, and then I'll read the proof. What's the word?
No, you don't know. I'm not going off of your sources. I'm sending people my sources.
I'd say
which happened to be coming from Haaretz, Times of Israel. Even fucking Israeli reporters are reporting on this shit.
What is your response to my words, if any? Or you have?
I don't have it. I don't care to like your bias. Like,
Okay.
honestly, this
let's
whole
say
time.
I'm biased.
Hold on, no, don't ask me for a response. This whole time, you've shown absolutely no humanity. You guys like justify the dumb shit, bro. You justify the dumb shit. Over 250 billion American dollars have been given to Israel, but we somehow don't have a budget for special ops.
I think we spent $1 trillion.
We don't have a budget for special ops after 250 billion has been spent.
We spent $1 trillion in Afghanistan, another $1 trillion in Iraq.
Wait, are you saying that we don't have money for our special forces?
This when I brought up special forces, this is the argument. We don't have enough soldiers. We don't have enough.
We don't have enough soldiers. But we do have a lot of we have a lot of military spending. I mean,
bro, we got drones and all kinds of shit, bro. We don't have to kill civilians, bro.
You don't understand.
Like what? Even in America, when you had a Texas sniper, you had a sniper in Texas that was shooting police. You know how they went in and killed them and minimized casualties? They sent in those little fucking robots that could go up.
That was one guy.
It doesn't fucking matter. Then you do it on a mass scale. And you take that logic.
No. This is where I just think you just simply don't understand. So they literally had probably half of the fucking Dallas Police Department out there that night. They had dozens and dozens of fucking men, if not hundreds. Basically cordoning the area off. And then they have to send in an expensive fucking machine to blow them up. How many men do you? How do you do that at a large scale?
Bro, it's not my problem. I'm not over here stealing people's houses and land, bro, and claiming it as my own.
Okay, that's the West
Wing.
That's not what we're talking about.
Like what? No, that's the problem first. That is the that problem right there of figuring it out is upon those that are wishing to go to war. If it was up to me, there would be no war over the dumb shit.
Hamas started the fucking war. Hamas started the fucking war. You did?
No, they didn't. This war